Chapter 440. Grandpa, it's okay. How much do you want? I'll transfer it to you. Bei Yunj took out her cell phone, intending to transfer the virtual coins to old Master Qin. When she helped the headquarters of the Maps of the Gods solve the bug, the system automatically sent her a lot of virtual coins. As for how many there were, Bei Yunj did not count how many zeros there were. Unexpectedly, old Master Qin's eyes lit up. He immediately leaned in and said, "Gur, you should go for the lucky draw too." Bei Yunj was speechless. It made no difference whether she participated in this kind of lucky draw or not. "Grandpa, I have a lot. You have to spend money to buy it." Old Master Qin disagreed. "This can't be compared to the happiness you get without spending money. Listen to Grandpa and do the lucky draw. Don't worry. Grandpa told your fortune last year. You have a great fortune. You'll definitely win the prize." Bei Yunj was speechless. Was this how a great fortune should be used? Bei Yunj's lips twitched, but she did not go against old Master Qin's wishes. She also did the lucky draw. After all, it was a waste of time to participate in this kind of lucky draw. However, a few seconds later, Bei Yunj saw a special light appear on the screen, and she had an ominous feeling. The next moment, a line of words appeared on her cell phone screen. "Congratulations! You have won the special prize." Bei Yunj's breath froze. Immediately afterward, everyone suddenly saw the ID of the special prize appear on the screen at the same time. Special prize ID 1. This line of words was bigger and clearer than the one beside the winning virtual coins. All of a sudden, the entire audience froze and their minds were in a mess. Is this a high-quality imitation ID? Maps of the Gods. Where did this high-quality imitation come from? Hence, the atmosphere became even weirder in an instant. Immediately afterward, U9 ebook. Screams could be heard in the venue. Is this going to break the dimension? Are they going on stage to receive the prize? The special prize was to go on stage and hug the contestant. Everyone who was reminded was so excited that they almost exploded. All of a sudden, after being chosen for this prize, they even felt that the real winner was the pro player on stage. Boo-hoo! I suspect that this is a covert operation. The competition team deliberately wants to reward the contestant. Come out quickly. I've long wanted to see what it looks like. In the first row, Bei Yunj. Old Master Qin approached his granddaughter to ask, did you win the virtual coins?
No.
Bei Yunj immediately logged out of the Maps of the Gods and sent a message to the person in charge of the competition. Old Master Qin was greatly disappointed when he heard this. You didn't? That's such a pity. Bei Yunj was speechless. It's okay. We can still buy more. Anyway, Grandpa has money. I think to be. Bei Yunj paused. It's all right. He's very good. I heard that he's still young. Old Master Qin could not help but sigh enviously. How good would it be if he were my grandson? We need someone to do research at home. Upon finishing his words, old Master Qin also looked at the stage, wanting to know what this person looked like. However, everyone waited for a while. The MC received a notice and smiled at everyone.
I'm sorry.
Well, this is an internal mistake. Let's redraw the special prize. Hearing that. Chapter 441. He was definitely at the scene. It was just that he refused to show up.
No.
This award is for. Instantly, the people below the stage began to jeer. Yes. There are two good-looking people on stage. Our brother Lang is so good-looking. Give us some face. Kong, our brother Lang, I beg you. The female audience on the stage was louder than the other. The other audience and players could not help but laugh. On the stage, Qin Lang's team members also sighed. I really didn't expect to be so close to a cultured person in my life. Back then, he was also a thorn in his teacher's side. Now, watching him compete, this feeling was really good. A cultured person also has to sit down and watch us compete. A few team members teased. However, Qin Lang sneered. Don't think about it. It's not your turn to sit here even if you play professionally. Wake up. As soon as he finished speaking, The team members wanted to refute, but they suddenly remembered that the first place in the maps of the gods had yet to be broken. A scholar should act like a scholar. Why should he play games? However, in fact, there were many highly educated players in the industry. For example, Qin Lang was from the mathematics department of Yun University. Could it be that we are being looked down upon, so she is unwilling to come and receive the award? The team members trembled. This segment was supposed to be filled with love. Usually, the ones who won the prize were lovely girls. But this time, a big shot actually won the prize. In the face of everyone's jeering, the host's voice was still sweet. She smiled slightly. I know that everyone's enthusiasm for this lucky draw winner may surpass the players on the stage. But it's okay. If everyone really likes it, you can pay more attention to the works. Everyone was speechless. What a ruthless woman. The works of? Was that something that humans could understand? In the end, the second special prize was won by a delicate and pretty little girl. She went on stage and hugged Qin Lang first. Then, she ran down with a red face. When the competition officially ended, on the way back, many people hit on Old Master Qin. You are? I like you so much. Old Master Qin was speechless. Bei Yunj was speechless. Immediately, the girl's boyfriend pulled her back. Are you stupid? It's a woman, and I heard that she's quite young. When the girl heard that, she immediately reacted. She looked at Old Master Qin apologetically. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I'm fine. Old Master Qin waved at her and quickly left with Bei Yunj, entering the backstage. Qin Lang brought Old Master Qin and Old Master Qin into the lounge. The team members greeted Old Master Qin obediently. Then, they couldn't help but look at Bei Yunj. Wasn't this too beautiful? If it wasn't for the old man, he really wanted to talk to his boss's sister. At this moment, Chapter 442. Yes, this is my granddaughter, Bei Yunj. Old Master Qin said proudly. Bei Yunj glanced at the people in front of her and nodded at them. Hello. The members were speechless. She was simply a girl who looked beautiful. Even her voice was so pleasant to the ears. Okay, I'm good. The members nodded. They finally understood why their boss was so happy without a girlfriend. With a younger sister who looked like this, why would he need a girlfriend? He could even shorten his lifespan. Qin Lang noticed the menacing gazes of his team members and immediately went forward to grab the back of their collars and flung them back. The one who made the most mistakes this time still has the cheek to say that. The celebration party is over. Go back and practice for 2 hours. As for the two of you, how did you brag to me last time? You wanted Xiaoji to go home and farm in 10 minutes? Qin Lang slapped their heads. One of them was almost sent home to farm by Xiaoji, while the other gave Xiaoji his head twice. After being lectured in public, none of the team members dared to say anything more. Old Master Qin also realized that even if his grandson played games, he did not seem like he was doing something improper. Instead, it made people feel that he was youthful and hot-blooded. The cheers in the arena were the best proof. After returning home, Old Master Qin was very happy. On the other hand, Qin Lang sat in the front passenger seat and kept touching his right hand. Bei Yunj happened to see this scene from the corner of her eye.
Soon.
She looked away, the meaning in her eyes unclear. Even after she was reborn, the Qin family did not seem to have deviated from its original development. Until now, only Old Master Qin had been saved by Bei Yunj. Beautiful, however, Qin Lang's hand injury. Qin used disfigurement by fans because he was framed for having a crush on a child, and Qin Lian's entanglement with that woman were still happening. After returning to the old mansion, the moment Bei Yunj entered, she did not expect to see Huishida sitting by the sofa with Qin Lian on either side. The atmosphere was tense. Why was he here? Shidu, you're finally here. Old Master Qin seemed to have known that Huishida would come. Yes, Grandpa Qin and Yunyan went to watch the competition today. Huashida walked over and helped old Master Qin sit on the sofa. Yes. Even though Lang is a professional gamer, he didn't embarrass the Qin family. Old Master Qin's eyes were filled with pride. That's only natural. Gaming competitions are no different from other competitions. Huashida chatted with old Master Qin, but from the corner of his eye, he kept paying attention to the silent young lady beside him. However, then, before Huashida could speak to Bei Yunj, the young lady in front of him suddenly stood up. Grandpa, I'm a little sleepy. I'm going to sleep first. When old Master Qin heard this, he thought that Bei Yunj was tired from watching the competition with him. He immediately said, Okay. Grandpa will get someone to call you downstairs for dinner later. No need. I'll come down in an hour, Bei Yunj said with a smile. Dinner time in the Qin family's old mansion had always been 7:30 p.m. It was exactly 6:30. All right, go and sleep for a while. Old Master Qin nodded, not noticing Huashida's expression at all. Okay. After Bei Yunj went upstairs. Chapter 443. After going upstairs, Bei Yunj received a message. She opened the chat list and saw that it was a screenshot sent to her by Tich and the others. As for the content of the screenshot, it was Hong Chongjin, who had been causing a commotion recently. After mentioning Bei Yunj, he wrote another essay. It was called The Capitalist's Plaything. As expected, the protagonist of Hong Chongjin's essay, which was filled with hatred for evil, was Bei Yunj. Tich, teacher, does this person have a grudge against you? Jasmine, this person is really tasteless. When Tich and I went online, we saw that his students had posted a translated version of it on the foreign web. Jasmine, but it's okay. Tich and I have already scolded him on behalf of teacher. When Bei Yunj saw these messages, she thought for a moment and quickly replied, Have you completed the task that I assigned to you last time? Tich and Jasmine, who were far away in country were speechless. Why did her teacher place more importance on them than her own gossip? Tich, it's done. Jasmine, +1 okay. I'll take care of the rest. Don't worry. Indeed, Bei Yunj did not expect Hong Chongjin to be so playful at his age.
Soon.
Bei Yunj sent a message to Marcus. Chingchong Computing Center. Save the book. Hong Chongjin looked at the internet. Other than his good friends, even the other netizens liked and shared his post, supporting his statement. There was a hint of pride in his eyes. He clicked on the comments and continued to scroll down. I've long felt that there was a problem. A month ago, she was someone who I had never heard of. The moment she stepped out of the industry, she was involved in a research project worth 10 billion yuan. After that, she fixed a bug for Example Corporation. Isn't this too much of a coincidence? It's worthy of a conspiracy theory. Since she's so amazing, why isn't there any news of her winning the Busaka Prize? They didn't even invite her to participate, right? Haha, you guys don't know, right? She even went to watch the Maps of the Gods competition today. Everyone was shouting her name. Those who didn't know would think that she was an idol. If you want to be a scientific genius, you have to see if you have the capital. Professor Hong dares to speak the truth. Professor Hong is too straightforward. Seeing these comments, Hong Chongjin didn't have time to feel complacent. Suddenly, he flipped to the next post. Research Institute, Zhong Shenlin, you really think you're a plaything. Chingchong Computing Center, Hong Chongjin, published a headline article, The Plaything of Capitalists, in an instant. Hong Chongjin's expression changed. He didn't expect that Zhong Shenlin would dare to criticize him so directly on the internet. This Zhong Shenlin. Hong Chongjin gritted his teeth and clicked on Zhong Shenlin's repost with anger. However, he discovered that almost no one was on his side. There was even a familiar ID in the front row of the hot comments. Our nation's Medical Research Institute. Thank you very much. The medical testing machine was developed last month. The first machine has entered the testing stage. I believe that more patients will be treated in the near future. When this comment came out, many netizens were shocked. So how much trouble did he cause in the last month? The Delaney 10 billion project, the Maps of the Gods bug, and even a computerized medical device? Is it very impressive to make a machine? What kind of contrarian is the upstairs poster? The medical machines used by our nation's Medical Research Institute are all top-notch medical machines. Chapter 444. Hong Chongjin's face was distorted. He didn't expect that even Stephen would come and interfere. One had to know that if these research institutes dared to take sides, how could they not have instructions from the higher-ups? At this moment, it was also because of Zhong Xinlin and the Our Nation's Medical Institute statements that the rumors from a while ago gradually subsided. After all, this industry was very far from ordinary people like them, and it was not something they should worry about. Besides, even the top computing expert in the country, Zhong Xinlin, was speaking up for her now. It was really hard to say who was right and who was wrong. At the Qin family's old residence, after eating downstairs, Bei Yunj went upstairs quickly. Qin Lang could not help but be puzzled. Is there a lot of homework recently? The man beside her answered carelessly. His eyes were lowered, looking lazy and light, but the corners of his upturned eyes were charming. Puer is really hardworking, right? Don't you know Hengda's homework the best?
Qin, you said.
In the past, Qin Lang was also a student of Hengda. Qin Yu turned around and asked, Master Du, does Go often do homework after school when she's with you? Grandpa Qin, I'll go upstairs and rest for a while. Okay. Old Master Qin immediately said, Shidu, your room is the first one on the right corridor. Qin Ling nodded, feeling very relieved. However, the moment he finished speaking, the man who had not spoken much suddenly stood up. However, he did not expect the room to be bright when the door was pushed open. Huashida's pale-colored eyes darkened. His well-defined hand was still on the door handle calmly. At the same time,
Sorry to trouble you, Grandpa.
After Huashidu went upstairs, he was not in a hurry to find the little girl. Instead, he pushed open the door of the guest room and planned to take a shower first. Bei Yunj was about to get out of bed when she realized that she was wearing a very cool halter dress. There was a brown teddy bear on the bedside table. In the next moment, Bei Yunj, who had just taken a shower and was sitting by the bed with her laptop, froze when she heard the noise. She instantly understood why this guest room was so clean. Because this was prepared for Huashidu. Huashidu went forward and reached out his hand playfully. His slender index finger poked her head under the silk blanket. Why did you run to your brother's bed? Big brother, go out for a while. I'll fix this bed for you. After Bei Yunj finished speaking calmly, she did not expect the bed to suddenly sink. Bei Yunj heard footsteps at the door. She immediately grabbed the teddy bear on the bedside table and covered herself with the quilt. This was what Huashida saw when he walked in. The man's thin lips raised a light arc, and even the usual lazy peach blossom eyes overflowed with the light of a smile. Bei Yunj. This man was definitely doing it on purpose. Not long after, Huashidu sat beside her. No need. Yunyan didn't even talk to me when I came over today. Huashida's thin red lips curled up. His usual lazy eyes were filled with a seductive smile. It's just nice now. Only Yun, and I can have a good chat. Bei Yunj composed herself and slowly poked her head out of the silk blanket. But she didn't want to. When she looked up, she almost leaned into Huashida's chest and smelled the man's pleasant and cold scent. Bei Yunj calmly covered her head with the blanket and moved back. What do you want to talk about? Chapter 445. Huashida looked at the fruits on the table and took them naturally. His well-defined hands slowly peeled the fruit. His tone was frivolous, and he had a casual smile on his face. However, his posture was extremely indulgent as he coaxed her. Let's talk about our little ancestor. What's going on? Did this man know how easy it was for others to misunderstand him when he spoke like this? I'm fine. Yes, I'm not good. I can't sleep without Union around. After Huashidu finished speaking, Bei Yunj looked up and noticed that there was a faint bruise under the man's beautiful eyes. Indeed, he did not sleep well. This thought flashed through Bei Yunj's mind. In the next moment, Bei Yunj subconsciously reached out and gently touched the faint bruise under the man's peach blossom eyes. She did not notice the heartache in her heart. The man did not say a word or remind her. He only looked at the little girl who was touching his face with his dark eyes. Did you stay up all night yesterday? Bei Yunj asked.
Yes.
The man's tone was still natural, and his thin lips curled into a lazy smile. Then can't you take care of yourself? After Bei Yunj touched his face, she felt that this man's skin was really good. She had never seen him take care of his skin usually. With this thought in mind, Bei Yunj almost followed her thoughts and pinched him again. Seeing the little girl reluctantly retract her hand, the darkness in Huishidu's eyes faded a little. The corners of his lips curled up. Yes, I'll listen to you, Nyun. Bei Yunj looked at the man's gaze and shrank back into the blanket unnaturally. Why do you listen to me? Her voice became softer and softer. Unexpectedly, the man suddenly chuckled and slowly leaned closer. His gaze was fixed, and his voice was extremely low and sexy. Why do you think, Union? For a moment, all of Bei Yunja's rationality seemed to be about to explode. Bashanayu, Bei Yunja's aura inexplicably weakened, and she continued to shrink into the blanket. However, unexpectedly, the man's lips curled up and he suddenly leaned over to pull the edge of the blanket and pressed forward. He reached under the blanket and slowly inched closer. Just as Bei Yunja's entire body froze. The man's eyes were so dark that she couldn't tell what he was thinking. He chuckled in a low voice and rubbed the tip of her nose. His deep and magnetic voice, with a burning temperature, rang in her ears. Because I want to coax you home, Union. When they left, Bei Yunj was held captive and fed with oranges. Only then did she leave in a hurry. The next day, Bei Yunj also left very early. However, even Bei Yunj did not know why she felt guilty whenever she saw Huishidu. On the bus to Hongda, Bei Yunj gathered her thoughts and happened to see the message Du Xiao sent her, so she sent the score she had written over. When she was about to arrive, Du Xiao sent her an emoji. Du Xiao, thumbs up. Bei Yunja's eyelids twitched unconsciously before she sent him another message. Bei Yunj, don't worry about losing the score. Also, check who wants my score. Du Xiao, no problem. Hongda. Yunj, have you heard the news? Zhong Shenlin and Country R's Medical Institute have publicly supported it and even challenged Hong Chongjin, Lu Yuanci asked. Hearing this, Bei Yunj rubbed her index finger that was holding the pen. Why are you telling me this? Chapter 446. Bei Yunj was speechless. She thought that he knew something. I'm not, Bei Yunj said clearly. Lu Yuanci snorted. You're so stubborn. Bei Yunj was speechless. Forget it. But to be honest, a lot of people are talking about YUN now. They're all free. Bei Yunj slowly took out her homework and slowly made up for it. If it was in the past, Lu Yuanci could still laugh and say that she was hopeless. But now that he thought about how this person was the first place in the physics competition, he fell silent.
Haha.
Bei Yunj did not look like a top student from beginning to end. No one would believe that she could get first place in the competition. However, this was the truth. Sometimes you look like a fan, but sometimes you look like an anti-fan. Otherwise, how could a normal fan be so calm? Bei Yunj was speechless.
Suddenly,
Bei Yunj's phone vibrated. She took it out and opened it. Someone had sent her an email. It was old Mr. 107 from the last time. He was probably asking her if he could meet her to express his gratitude if he could get an official spot in the International Musicians Association. Among them, there was also a music score. Bei Yunj clicked on it and looked at it for a while. She felt that this old man's composing ability was more malleable than others. His style was unique and did not lack spirituality. He was like an unpolished jade that only needed to be carved carefully.
Soon.
Erotic ebook. Bei Yunj agreed to his request and planned to change the score for this old man if he could pass the competition. At the same time, Qin Yojiao, who had really gotten Yun's score, had a terrible expression on her face. She could not help but call that woman. It's impossible for me to learn this score in a week. Besides, I'm going for the interview in 5 days. Qin Yojiao gritted her teeth. However, after hearing Qin Yojiao's complaints, the woman only laughed. But this is Yun's new song. If you want to enter the International Musicians Association, you can definitely enter with this score. Easy for you to say, but how do you expect me to learn this score in such a short time? Qin Yojiao gritted her teeth. She never thought that Yuan would make such a score. How on earth did he write such an extraordinary and majestic score? The voice on the other end of the phone was silent for a while, then said, "I can get someone to change it for you." Qin Yojiao heaved a sigh of relief. But, in the next moment, the woman laughed and said, "But Yojiao, I've helped you so much. Shouldn't you help me with something serious?" The blood in Qin Yojiao's body seemed to freeze as she asked, "What is it? Why are you so nervous? It's not like you don't know that I like your big brother. How about you help me take a look at the Qin group and copy some things into your big brother's computer? But my relationship with my older brother is strained. How do you want me to enter the Qin family?" Qin Yojiao's expression changed. "Your relationship with your big brother is strained, but it's not like your relationship with everyone in the Qin family is strained. If you can do this well, I'll help you change a new score." The woman smiled. "Yu Jiao, if you can't help me with this, how can I believe that you can help me with other things? But with your ability, even the Qin family can't fight against you." "Why?" "Because I like your big brother." Chapter 447. Can't you tell that I'm pursuing him? In our nation, the woman was wearing a purple satin dress with a transparent ruby tied to her collar. Her slender hands were wearing black lace gloves as she drank black tea. She crossed her legs and sat by the French windows, looking arrogant and beautiful. Qin Yojiao clenched her fists and her eyes darkened. After a while, she said, "I'll do what you asked me to do." The woman smiled. "Okay, thank you for your hard work, Yu Jiao." Until she hung up. The white-haired butler walked beside the woman and said respectfully, "Miss, if you really like him, why don't you buy the Qin family directly? Then can he really like me?" The woman turned around and asked him. The butler wanted to say something but hesitated.
There were some things he did not dare to say.
Back then, Miss had taken a fancy to Qin Luyan at the banquet. However, Qin Luyan only glanced at her and did not give her more. It was obvious that that man was not interested in Mississippi. Besides, the butler could clearly feel that this President Qin was not an ordinary young master of a corporation. He was afraid that Miss would provoke someone she shouldn't. "I've checked the Qin family. Only Lu Yan is not bad. As for the rest," the woman leaned against the sofa and closed her eyes to rest. "You don't have to worry too much. So I don't have to go to Yuncheng personally for the time being. Is that Miss Qin really worth your treatment? You spent so much effort and even found Hong Chongzhen for her to be the teacher of the Cheng family's heir." He had never understood why Miss chose Qin Yojiao and not the newcomer Bei Yunj, since she was using her. "I found one of the top teachers in the country for her to take care of Cheng Zihuai. It's not entirely because of her." The woman smirked. "Someone is helping the Qin Corporation in our nation's computing institute. Since that's the case, that person has to be taught a lesson." Hearing this, the butler immediately knew who she was talking about. During this period of time, with Miss adding fuel to the fire behind the scenes, the more heated the industry was, the more difficult that person's path would be. However, the butler could not help but sigh. With Miss's status and appearance, why did she have to be entangled with such a dangerous man? After school, Bei Yunj had just walked out of the school gate when she saw a Lincoln limousine parked at the entrance. Before she could approach, the car door opened. Hearing a familiar voice, Bei Yunj immediately looked up. She did not expect it to be Qin Lian. "You're here to fetch me?" Bei Yunj glanced around and did not see any other cars. "Yes, the old man is having a banquet today, so he asked me to pick you up." Seeing that she was looking around just now, Qin Lian could not help but chuckle. "Are you waiting for someone else?" "No." After Bei Yunj, she's Qin Yojiao, who happened to walk out from behind, saw Qin Lian's figure. Before she could go forward excitedly, she saw Bei Yunj get into the car, and the car immediately disappeared without a trace. Instantly, Qin Yojiao's expression changed as she subconsciously clenched her fists. The girl beside him couldn't help but ask enviously when she saw this scene. "Who is that person?"
Uh,
Qin Yujiao forced a smile. He's my older brother. Big brother? Isn't he too handsome? He's not inferior to your second brother, Qin Yu. I'm so envious of you, Jiao Jiao. At this point, the girl asked without thinking, Hey, did your brother come over just to fetch Bei Yunj? Chapter 448. The smile on Qin Yujiao's face froze even more, exuding an unconcealable coldness. At this moment, the girl regained her senses and instantly panicked. Jiao Jiao, I didn't mean to mock you on purpose.
it's okay.
Qin Yujiao said with a smile. Seeing that Qin Yujiao was really not angry, the girl heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Jiao Jiao is kind and tolerant. Oh right, Jiao Jiao, this is a gift I specially prepared for you. The girl regained her senses and immediately handed a gift box to Qin Yujiao. Did you really prepare it for me? Thank you, Ningning. Qin Yujiao looked very happy and immediately took the gift. You're welcome. Yujiao, you're my best friend. I bought this when I went to B City last time. It's specially for you. Okay, my dad is here to pick me up. I'll get going first. Bye. Qin Yujiao watched the girl leave with a smile on her face. Then, she threw the beautifully wrapped gift box into the rubbish bin. Her expression was cold and sarcastic. After the car stopped, Bei Yunj glanced at the people around and asked, Didn't you say that we're going to a banquet? I asked you to wear your school uniform to a banquet? Qin Lian glanced at his watch and then glanced at Bei Yunj. He could not help but chuckle. Let's go. Bei Yunj immediately regained her senses and got out of the car, following Qin Lian. Choosing a gown? Bei Yunj walked beside Qin Lian. A bright and beautiful girl in a school uniform and a refined and elegant man in a suit were enough to attract all the attention around them. The two of them who were filming. The girls around them could not help discussing excitedly. What kind of idol drama was this? Wasn't the quality of the male and female leads too high? Wipe your saliva. Do you see the 4 bodyguards behind them? They're really rich. The girl beside her pulled the infatuated girl and said in a low voice. At this moment, only then did others notice that there were 4 bodyguards following behind the two of them, until Qin Lian brought Bei Yunj into a design center. President Qin, why are you here? Soon, a fashionably dressed man came forward. Although his tone was strange, his manners were still polite. He did not dare to get close to Qin Lian. My biological sister is going to attend the banquet later. Help her prepare. I guarantee that there won't be a problem. As long as I'm here, even if your sister looks... The fashionable man smiled and turned his head to look at Bei Yunj. But when he saw Bei Yunj's face clearly, he stopped talking. This is your younger sister? The fashionable man widened his eyes as if he had discovered the location of a hidden treasure. He kept looking at Bei Yunj with a fiery gaze. This made Bei Yunj subconsciously move behind Qin Lian. This small action successfully pleased Qin Lian.
Yes.
Don't you plan to let the young miss make a name for herself? With this face, it would be a waste if she didn't make a name for herself, right? When Qin Lian heard this, his dark eyes swept over him unhurriedly. His low voice was cold. Can I afford to raise her? You can afford to raise her. The fashionable man instantly knew that the rumors that President Qin doted on his sister were true. This was too surprising. However, no one could bear to scold his sister with such looks. Then why don't you hand her over to me now? I guarantee that today's styling will be worthy of her looks. P.S. There are still 6 chapters, but the train of thought is very stuck and the update time is uncertain. Sleep early, good night. Chapter 449. With that said, the fashionable man chuckled. I've always heard that President Qin dotes on his sister, but I've only seen it today. Oh right, President Qin, don't you have a sister? After saying too much, the fashionable man realized that he had said something wrong and immediately shut his mouth. He looked up and indeed, he felt Qin Lian's gaze turn cold.
Soon.
He turned sideways and looked at Bei Yunj. He reached out to tidy Bei Yunj's long hair and said carelessly, Go. If you think his design is not bad, I'll buy this styling center for you and only design for you in the future. The fashionable man was speechless. There was no need for that, President Qin. In the fashion industry, who didn't want to be the best? If he only designed for one person, it was obvious that he was cutting off his future. I don't attend banquets that often. With that said, Bei Yunj followed the fashionable man in. In the room, the fashionable man heaved a sigh of relief and realized belatedly that this eldest young lady of the Qin family seemed to be even colder than President Qin. Even the conversation just now seemed to be President Qin trying to please this eldest young lady of the Qin family. Miss Qinyu, my surname is Pei. Bei Yunj said. I am sorry, Miss Pei. At this moment, the fashionable man was alone with Bei Yunj, but he inexplicably felt that the atmosphere was even more tense than before. She was indeed President Qin's biological sister. They were practically carved from the same bones. I wonder, what kind of style do you like? The fashionable man asked. Anything. Don't exaggerate. Okay, I understand. The fashionable man heaved a sigh of relief. Next, he would be more at ease when it came to matters in the professional field. On the first floor, 2 hours later, Platinum Gold Royal Hotel. Man Ran, you're here too. Old Master Bo still has some face. Seeing you Man Ran, who was wearing a burgundy mermaid dress, walk over, the socialites in groups of 3 to 5 immediately went over to chat with her. Mrs. Bo invited me so kindly. I had to come. Seeing that they were all partners of the Yu family, Yu Manrand forced himself to chat. Of course. After all, Mrs. Bo likes you so much. The woman in the pink dress changed the topic. But, Manran, do you know that Bo Jinxiao is back? As soon as he finished speaking, Yu Manran, who had just picked up his wine glass, paused. Isn't she studying at Country R's Royal Academy of Music? They said that once you have enough credits, you can graduate in advance. In our industry, if Jin Xiao hadn't left back then, Qin Yu Jiao wouldn't have stood out for so long. That's right, but it's all good now. Qin Yu Jiao is just a fake. Another socialite immediately agreed. After all, when Qin Yu Jiao was still the young lady of the Qin family, she was so talented that other socialites could not even raise their heads. This had already caused many people to be dissatisfied. A short while later, someone could not help but ask, do you guys think Jin Xiao will be there today? Of course. She's a distant relative of the Bo family and is so doted on. It's old Master Bo's birthday today. How can she not be present? Hearing this, Yu Manran could no longer hold back. He put down his wine glass and walked towards the door. No way. A woman wearing a light green lace fishtail gown with tassels adorned on it walked towards him. Manran? Long time no see. Yu Manran froze the moment he heard this familiar voice. The moment he looked up, he saw that smiling and beautiful face. Chapter 450. I'm fine. Yu Manran clenched his fists, but his expression was calm. That's good. Bo Jinxiao said with a smile. Manran, I feel that you've become even prettier after not seeing you for 2 to 3 years. Yu Manran was expressionless and just looked at her quietly, just as expected. In the next moment, Bo Jinxiao smiled gently and generously. But it's good that you don't hate me. Hate you for what? Yu Manran asked in return, making Bo Jinxiao stunned for a moment before she laughed softly. Manran, you're still as straightforward and cute as before. Bo Jinxiao approached her and said gently, I know. That time I slept. Bo Jinxiao, do you like to disgust people so much? Yu Manran's tone was cold as he interrupted Bo Jinxiao. Do you hate to hear it? Manran, I just want to... Before Bo Jinxiao could finish, a sudden voice interrupted her again. Manran. Hearing the familiar voice, Yu Manran relaxed inexplicably and turned to look at Bei Yunj. Go, you're here too. Yu Manran's guarded and cold expression completely disappeared. Seeing this, Bo Jinxiao could not help but turn around, wanting to see the person who had spoken. But the moment she looked up, Bo Jinxiao froze. The girl in front of her was very young. She was wearing a simple light blue dress that was embellished with large flowers embroidered with gauze and blue floating gold. Her waist and V-neck were perfect, showing the feelings and charm of a young girl. Her black hair was loose and fell on her shoulders. Her bright and moving face was even more dazzling. In just a moment, a huge sense of danger rose in Bo Jinxiao. Pei Yunj grabbed Yu Manren's hand and walked in, not even looking at Bo Jinxiao from the corner of her eye. Seeing this, Bo Jinxiao heaved a sigh of relief and could not help laughing. It turned out that she was just a little girl with an unstable temperament. For Yu Manren, she left coldly, without even looking at her. "Gur, did you see me talking to that person?" Yu Manren asked nervously. "Yes." "Then you're leaving just like that?" Bei Yunj glanced at her. "Don't you hate her? Is it that obvious?" When Bei Yunj came in, she saw that Yu Manren's entire face was filled with hostility. He looked like a little girl who had been robbed of her candy, but the other party was smiling calmly. It was obvious that she was very good at dealing with Yu Manren. "Look in the mirror," Bei Yunj said calmly. Yu Manren, "Very good, very straightforward. As expected of Master Pei. She's just a mistress. Why would I bother with her?" At this point, Yu Manren suddenly remembered something. He pulled Bei Yunj and said, "Go look after your brother Shidu. When this woman was in high school, she confessed to your boyfriend. Although she was rejected, this woman might not have given up." "Isn't she with your ex-boyfriend?" Bei Yunj asked. Yu Manren was stunned. "How did you know? Didn't you say that woman was a mistress?" Bei Yunj said, without thinking. Smart people were really annoying sometimes. "Yes, but she took a step back." Yu Manren laughed. "How can I not know Bo Jinxiao? She thinks that she's the #1 in the world and the center of the universe. If she knew that there was something going on between you and Master Du, she would definitely not sit still." Chapter 451. Although Hushidu had been acting a little strange recently, but he was just teasing a child. This man probably never realized that she was a mature woman of the opposite sex. Come on, if it wasn't for that, would Master Du have chased her all the way to the bar? Yu Manren rolled his eyes. Bei Yunj said, "Have you ever seen someone supervise a girl he likes to do college entrance examination mock questions in his office every day?" Yu Manren was speechless. Wasn't Master Du playing too much? Other people played all kinds of passionate games in the domineering CEO's office, but he supervised the little girl to do her homework every day? Yu Manren still wanted to struggle. Perhaps he just feels that dating and studying are not two different things. Bei Yunj sneered. "All right. What he lacks is not a girlfriend, but an heir." Until today, Bei Yunj still remembered how Hoshida had let her go to the Hua Corporation to manage the company without any psychological burden. It was as if she was already his biological sister. If this man could be moved by the mortal world, the iron tree would bloom. At this moment, Yu Manren could only shut up after hearing this. This kind of thing would only make things worse. It was better for her not to cause trouble for Master Du on the second floor. "Old Qin, you've found your biological granddaughter. Her illness is almost healed. How wonderful." The 4 old men were chatting at the mahjong table. "Don't talk about this anymore." When old Master Qin mentioned it, he could not help but take a deep breath. Back then, Mr. and Mrs. Qin had pretended to obey him and said that they wanted to tell everyone that Go was their biological daughter. But in the end, it had been 2 years, and they had not mentioned Go at all, causing everyone to mistakenly think that Go was an illegitimate daughter. If Lu Yan had not come to the hospital to visit him and tell him the truth, he would have been kept in the dark. "What's wrong?" Old Master Luo said sarcastically. "The 3 grandsons in the family are all promising. Aren't you happy? Is your granddaughter too lousy?" "Your granddaughter is the lousy one," Old Master Qin immediately retorted. Old Master Luo was stunned for a moment. Then he sneered. "What's wrong? Where's your granddaughter? You won't even let her say it?" Old Master Qin rolled his eyes and couldn't be bothered with him. Old Master Luo snorted. "My granddaughter just got into Herman University's finance department. In the future, he can even enter the company to help out at home." After saying this, everyone present could tell that Old Master Luo was showing off. Old Master Wu laughed and said, "Isn't it all because of old Bo's good fortune? Isn't Jin Xiao a famous talent in our circle?" Old Master Luo also started to flatter. Yes, yes, Jin Xiao is really good in every way. Who knew Old Master Bo did not even raise his head. She's not my biological granddaughter. Bo Jin Xiao was a distant relative and did not have much to do with the Bo family. However, because Bo Jin Xiao had always been outstanding since she was young, the Bo family valued her very much. However, this Bo family did not include Old Master Bo. Old Master Bo's personality had always been perverse, and he did not like delicate little girls. However, when the others heard Old Master Bo's words, they felt a little awkward. Even if she's not your biological granddaughter, she's still a junior. Old Master Qin was the only one among the three who dared to say this about Old Master Bo. After all, ever since Old Master Bo was young, the Bo family had been like the sun in the sky. They were the people that others wanted to please. It's my treat today. Old Qin, stop talking, Old Master Bo said unhappily. Old Master Qin was speechless. This damned old man was really demanding. Chapter 452. All right, let's play another round and go down to see them. Old Master Bo said. Okay. Then let's play another round. In the hall downstairs. Oh my, look. Bo Jin Xiao is really the center of attention the moment she comes back. The surrounding socialites' gazes drifted over from time to time to Bo Jin Xiao, who was chatting with the young masters of the various corporations. In a corner, not far away, Bei Yunj was eating snacks and put some on Yu Manren's plate from time to time.
Suddenly,
Master Pei, you're here too. Bei Yunj turned around and saw Chu Zixing and Lu Yuanxi. He was wearing a suit and looked handsome and dignified. Especially Chu Zixing. After a month or two, he had lost a lot of weight. His black eyes were sparkling and his facial features were deep, attracting the attention of many young women. Are you here to steal the cake? Where are you? Lu Yuanxi casually plucked the cherry from Bei Yunj's cake and threw it into his mouth. Bei Yunj stopped and looked at him expressionlessly. Goer, there's more? Yu Manren hurriedly stuffed the cherry on his cake into Bei Yunj's mouth. Bei Yunj glanced at Yu Manren and asked Chu Zixing lazily, Xiao Chu, why are you here? I came with my brother. With that said, Chu Zixing could not help but look at Yu Manren. This also made Bei Yunj look at Yu Manren unconsciously. Seeing that Yu Manren was pretending not to know Chu Zixing, she did not ask further. Master Pei, did you see that? That person in the green dress over there is Brother Chu's sweetheart. Lu Yuanxi, what nonsense are you talking about? Chu Zixing elbowed Lu Yuanxi heavily. Lu Yuanxi laughed and held his abdomen. You're still denying it? When I bumped into you at the door, I saw you staring at her. By the way, how many years are you younger than her? 4. Chu Zixing could not help but look at Bo Jin Xiao again. 4? Lu Yuanxi raised his eyebrows and happened to glance at Bei Yunj from the corner of his eye. Master Pei, do you think Brother Chu can do it? Bei Yunj glanced at Chu Zixing and thought for a while. Xiao Chu, I suggest you try someone else. Why change? That big sister looks very gentle and generous. She's completely different from a girl with a bad temper like you. Lu Yuanxi laughed and teased. What are you doing, Master Pei? Are you jealous that she's feminine? Is it sour? Bei Yunj chuckled. What are you laughing at? Lu Yuanxi asked. Little Lu, there are some things that you can't understand. Bei Yunj sighed softly and smirked. She raised an eyebrow and smiled lazily. My face doesn't allow me to stir up trouble. Lu Yuanxi. Chu Zixing. He had really underestimated the thickness of her skin. However, looking at this face, he really couldn't say anything against his heart. Yu Manren, who was beside him, also suppressed his laughter. He had long known that Go had a vicious tongue, but he rarely saw her like this. It was inexplicably funny and down to earth.
Suddenly,
Zixing. Not far away, Bo Jin Xiao looked at Chu Zixing in surprise. You seem to have lost a lot of weight. Hearing this, Chu Zixing became nervous and clenched his fists unconsciously. You're getting more and more handsome. Sister Qiao can't recognize you anymore. Bo Jin Xiao held Chu Zixing's arm intimately, making the men around them feel jealous. Chapter 453. You're so rude. You're not even calling me sister. Bo Jinxiao thought for a moment and said with a smile, then let's play a duet.
How about that? Okay.
Chu Zhixing only pursed his lips on the surface, a faint smile on his lips, but he could not help but feel happy. Not far away, Lu Yuanxi shook his head. You've been making things difficult for us for so long. So you're using it to chase after your goddess. One had to know that he and Bei Yunj had been practicing the piano with Chu Zhixing recently. If you're unhappy, are you going to play a duet with little Chu later? Bei Yunj asked in return. Hearing this, Lu Yuanxi had goosebumps all over his body. He looked at her expressionlessly. Pei Yunj ignored Lu Yuanxi and asked Yu Manran, do you know if there's any place here where we can get some fresh air? Yu Manran was puzzled. You don't know about Platinum Gold Royal Hotel? It's my first time here. No way. This is the Hua Corporation's property, and Master Du has never brought you here before. Yu Manran was secretly surprised. Then she said secretly, there's a pool behind. There's also a theme restaurant and a large garden. Where do you want to go? The garden, Bei Yunj said. Okay, then let's go out secretly later. Yu Manran was already out of breath, especially when Bo Jinxiao was still around.
Soon.
After Chu Zhixing and Bo Jinxiao's duet ended, Bo Jinxiao played the second song by the side, causing countless people to exclaim in admiration. Look, Brother Chu's eyes are glued to Bo Jinxiao. Lu Yuanxi smiled carelessly. But to be honest, Bo Jinxiao's piano skills are not worse than Qin Youjiao's. Qin Youjiao's piano skills were exquisite. However, Bo Jinxiao had an additional charm that made people linger. Master Pei, are you going to learn how to play the piano next time? Lu Yuanxi asked. Hearing this, Yu Manran immediately laughed without thinking.
Who would dare to teach you?
How about we let Brother Chu beg his goddess to let Bo Jinxiao teach Master Pei? This way, we can create an opportunity for Brother Chu. Not interested, Bei Yunj said lazily. With that said, Lu Yuanxi couldn't say anything more. Not long after, the old family heads upstairs came down. When I walked to the corridor, I heard a very good piano sound. I guessed that it was you, Yin Xiao, old Master Luo said with a smile. Yeah, other than Qin, just as old Master Wu was about to mention someone, he happened to catch a glimpse of old Master Qin at the side and immediately changed his mind. Other than Qin Xiao, who else can be so powerful? Grandpa Wu, you're teasing me. Bo Jinxiao immediately stood up and poured a cup of tea for old Master Bo. Grandpa, how have you been recently? Pretty good. Old Master Bo nodded, not giving Bo Jinxiao a way out in public. He praised, you're playing better and better. Bo Jinxiao smiled as well. In school, there are many powerful seniors with excellent piano skills. I still have to learn more. It's just that I can't seem to find a partner in the country. Hearing Bo Jinxiao's words, the other socialites fell silent. Who would want to be Bo Jinxiao's partner? Wasn't it obvious that she had to be a supporting character for Bo Jinxiao and accompany her? Hearing this, old Master Bo was about to speak when he heard Mrs. Li laugh from not far away. I remember that Miss Qin plays the piano very well. With that said, the atmosphere on the field became cold and heavy. Wasn't she talking about Qin Youjiao? But who didn't know that Qin Youjiao was no longer the young lady of the Qin family? Chapter 454. Bo Jinxiao stopped what she was doing and picked up the juice glass as well. She smiled and said, Miss Qin is amazing, but I don't think I'll have the chance to see Miss Qin again. Hearing this, Mrs. Li froze. Then, he looked at Pei Yunj, who was beside him. Isn't this Miss Qin standing here perfectly fine?
With that said,
even old Master Qin only realized now that the person Mrs. Li was talking about was Pei Yunj. After Lu Yuanxi regained his senses, he looked at Bei Yunj. You know how to play the piano? A little. Why didn't you say so earlier? Lu Yuanxi took a deep breath and smiled. Bei Yunj glanced at him calmly. Did you ask? Lu Yuanxi was speechless. Yes, very Bei Yunj. At this moment, everyone's eyes landed on Bei Yunj. Bo Jinxiao's smile froze. After thinking for a while, she immediately knew Bei Yunji's identity. So it was the new young lady of the Qin family. "Miss, are you good at playing the piano?" Bo Jinxiao asked. "Not bad." After Bei Yunji finished speaking, Lu Yuanxi could not help but look at Bei Yunji. He felt that there was something wrong with this answer. However, the way Yu Manran looked at Bei Yunji was much more realistic. "Was this okay? Then tell me who was very good." Hearing this, Bo Jinxiao only smiled. "I see. It's normal for girls to retain a sense of novelty and passion for things like the piano. I remember that Manran knows how to play the piano too. Why don't Manran teach Miss Qin more when you're free?" Seeing Bo Jinxiao's perfect appearance, Yu Manran found it ridiculous. Yu Manran's tone was cold. "Miss Bo, you're so nosy." No, the eldest miss of the Qin family. Mrs. Li had seen Bei Yunji play the piano in the Liu family. Before she could explain, Bei Yunji suddenly spoke. 90 minutes later. "Grandpa, I want to go out for a walk." Bei Yunji looked at old Master Qin. She didn't want to stay in there forever. Okay. Go play. I'll get your big brother and the others to look for you later." "All right." After Bei Yunji finished speaking, she pulled Yu Manran out of the room. "Old Qin, your granddaughter is really beautiful." Old Master Wu couldn't help but praise. "Of course. Don't you know whose genes it is?" Old Master Qin snorted. Lu Yuanxi. She finally knew why Bei Yunji was so confident. It runs in the family.
Suddenly,
In the living room, a pleasant piano sound sounded, and everyone looked at Bo Jinxiao, who was still playing the piano. Only Chu Zhixing felt that this song seemed a little familiar. He should have heard it somewhere before. Furthermore, it seemed like it was much better than Xiao Qiao's. Until the song ended. Old Master Bo, who did not speak much, suddenly asked, "The song you played was Yun Si Fall." Bo Jinxiao said with a smile, "I heard that Grandpa likes Huayuan a lot, so I specially went to learn the song. However, I was in a hurry and her song was a little difficult, so I only learned one song." Old Master Bo nodded. Others might not have noticed, but Old Master Bo had noticed that Bo Jinxiao had made a few mistakes. It was not Bo Jinxiao's fault. Si Fall was the most difficult song. I think I heard the eldest miss of the Qin family play this song in the Liu family before. Mrs. Li muttered to herself again. Besides, it was much better than Bo Jinxiao's. Chapter 455. Hearing this, the smile on Bo Jinxiao's face froze. She knows how to play too? Miss Pei plays very well. Mrs. Li clicked her tongue. Why wasn't she her daughter? She was good-looking and good at playing the piano. She was even so humble as to say that she played the piano well. It seems like Miss Pei was being humble just now. Bo Jinxiao's eyes darkened, and she turned to smile at Chu Zhixing. "Zhixing, your friend is very good." Chu Zhixing nodded. "She's the person I admire the most. She knows everything." Lu Yuanxi, who was not far away, was speechless. It was over. Chu Zhixing was really a huge fan of Bei Yunji. Didn't he see that Bo Jinxiao's smile was very forced? At this moment, another girl who studied music said, "Speaking of which, I wonder how Manran's relationship with Huayuan is. I heard that Huayuan is her personal arranger." Hearing this, Old Master Bo realized that he had forgotten something important. "Where's Man?" Old Master Bo stood up suddenly. This action made the smile on Bo Jinxiao's face freeze. She had never thought that Yu Manran would one day make Old Master Bo so concerned about Huayuan. In the garden. On the way, Yu Manran poked at her ice cream and ate it, not having the self-awareness of a female celebrity at all. Did you see that old man in a white t-shirt and casual pants just now? He's the old master of the Bo Corporation. Do you remember him? Bei Yunji suddenly remembered. That old man from the International Musicians Association selection? She remembered that in the selection video, the old man was wearing a tuxedo and a top hat, his hair combed neatly. He did not look like the casual old master at all. Yes. Bei Yunji raised an eyebrow. You know him? The Bo family and our Yu family are family friends. I have a good relationship with Mrs. Bo. So when they heard that you're my arranger some time ago, They thought of a way to hope that you can give a spot to old Master Bo. After listening to Yu Manren's explanation, Bei Yunj also responded, I see. Guer, do you think old Master Bo can pass? Yu Manren asked carefully. I don't know. These words made Yu Manren sigh uncontrollably. But the next moment he heard Bei Yunj say, but I quite like his music score. Let the Bo family find a professional teacher. That way, we will have more confidence in the selection. Why don't you teach me, Go-er? Yu Manren probed. As expected, Bei Yunj looked up with a half-smile. Is it fair to the other contestants if I teach him? Hearing this, Yu Manren stopped begging. She could tell that Bei Yunj would not touch a matter of principle. When the banquet was about to end, Yu Hanren called and asked Yu Manren to prepare to go back with him. At this moment, Bei Yunj and Yu Manren were also preparing to leave. But they did not expect to bump into Bo Jinxiao. It was as if she was looking for someone on purpose. Miss Pei, are you going back? Bo Jinxiao asked with a smile. Bei Yunj's eyes curved and her red lips curled up lazily. But she still gave off a distant feeling. Then, do I have a chance to be friends with Miss Pei? If possible, would Miss Pei be willing to give me her contact number? Before Bo Jinxiao could finish, Bei Yunj interrupted her calmly. Miss Bo, you're too polite. Although she said this, it was obvious that she did not intend to be friends with Bo Jinxiao. Chapter 456. It was obvious that it was Bo Jinxiao's first time being rejected, and she felt a little uncomfortable, but she pretended to be generous and glanced at Yu Manren beside her. Is it because of Manren? Turning around, Bo Jinxiao said to Bei Yunj, but I have a good relationship with Jixing. I don't lack friends. Bei Yunj smiled. No matter how good she was at tolerating it, Bo Jinxiao's smile disappeared completely in the face of Bei Yunj's attitude. From the corner of her eye, she happened to see the bracelet on Bei Yunj's wrist, and a trace of surprise flashed past her eyes. Perhaps because she had been staring for too long, the young lady who came with Bo Jinxiao also noticed that Bei Yunj and Bo Jinxiao were wearing the same bracelet. Why is this bracelet the same as yours, Jinxiao? The young lady said with a smile. It should be a coincidence. The moment Bo Jinxiao finished speaking, the young lady's tone suddenly became sharp and strange. Jinxiao, there are many people in our industry who imitate your outfits. What's so strange about that? It's just that this bracelet is a love gift from young Master Chu, and someone actually has the cheek to copy it. Are you done? Miss Bo, did you change your profession and become an artiste? You've been overseas for 2 to 3 years, and there are still people imitating your outfits? Yu Manren immediately laughed, his tone cold. The girl's face turned livid, but she did not dare to say anything overboard in front of Yu Manren. After all, now that the Yu family was working with the Hor family, their status in Yuncheng was unshakable. Even the Bo family had to give them some face. So, the girl changed the topic and could only vent her anger on Bei Yunj. Miss Pei is really amazing. She hasn't been back to the Qin family for long, right? She can already seduce Miss Yu? It seems like Miss Pei really came prepared. Sigh, Qin Youjiao's status is still too low. Why? Do you need to perform something because you're so skilled? Pei Yunj's eyes curved as she looked at her with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Hearing this, the girl trembled with anger. Let's go, man. Bei Yunj was about to leave when she was stopped by the girl. Stop. You're wearing the same bracelet as her. How can you be so nonchalant? The temperature in Bei Yunj's eyes gradually dropped. However, when she looked up, she saw Qin Lian standing behind Bo Jinxiao and Bo Jinxiao. Under the thin gold-rimmed glasses, his refined and noble eyes seemed to emit a trace of coldness. His dark eyes were frightening. As soon as he finished speaking, the girl, who had been arrogant just a moment ago, instantly felt a chill down her spine. This year, the Qin Corporation had expanded too quickly. People in the industry had no choice but to pay attention to this young and promising President Qin. Bo Jinxiao turned around and saw the refined and handsome man walking toward Bei Yunj. Then, A trace of coldness flashed past his dark eyes hidden under his thin glasses. His long, bony fingers gently circled Bei Yunji's wrist. After undoing the bracelet, he threw it into the trash can. What a has can only be unique. With that said, Qin Lian took off his wristwatch and put it on Bei Yunji's wrist. Hearing this, he scoffed. So the eldest young master of the Chu family is so perfunctory when it comes to love gifts. He's not even willing to find a custom-made one. Instantly, Bo Jinxiao's face paled and she looked at the man with a dangerous aura in front of her instinctively. However, at this moment, Qin Lian only glanced at Bei Yunji's dress. Then, he knelt on one knee and tidied her dress seriously. Chapter 457. It was obvious. Qin Lian doted on Bei Yunji to the bone. Seeing this, Yu Manren's eyes were filled with envy. Look, this was someone else's brother. What about her brother?
Haha. Suddenly,
Bo Jinxiao chuckled. President Qin must have misunderstood something. Then what does Miss Bo think I misunderstood? Qin Lian did not look up and there was no emotion in his eyes. However, Bo Jinxiao could not say a word. Do you need someone to remind you how you got together with Chu Ziyuan? Qin Lian's eyes were refined and arrogant, but there was no gentleness. It was a frightening feeling that made people panic. Instantly, Bo Jinxiao's legs turned weak instinctively, and she took a step back. She never thought that Qin Lian would target her because of such a small matter. My doesn't like to follow the rules, but Miss Bo, you have to follow the rules. Qin Lian's eyes were as dark as ink, filled with a deep and faint light, as if he could see through people's hearts. He smirked slightly. After all, what she has is inherent, but Miss Bo isn't. With that said, Bo Jinxiao's face paled and her pupils constricted. What did Qin Lian know? At first, she thought that Qin Lian had probably heard some rumors about her in the industry. But now, it seemed like Qin Lian knew something he shouldn't know. Okay, I'll apologize to Miss Bo first.
Excuse me.
With that said, Qin Lian left with Bei Yunji. Yu Manran, who was beside her, was slightly excited. *CK Yunji, isn't your older brother too handsome? Do you lack a sister-in-law? What do you think of me? Bei Yunji. I don't know. She only knew that in her previous life, there was a woman who loved Qin Lian but could not get him, so she destroyed the entire Qin family. At this thought, Bei Yunji glanced at her. Don't do anything rash. Tsk, I couldn't tell that our is a brother complex. After Yu Manran was rejected, he was not sad at all and was still laughing foolishly. Bei Yunji was speechless. At this moment, Bo Jinxiao was still standing on the spot. The girl next to her hurriedly comforted her. Jinxiao, President Qin dotes on his new sister very much, so I don't think he is targeting you on purpose. Who knew? Bo Jinxiao looked at Bei Yunji's departing figure and only smiled. Bei Yunji. What an interesting little girl. Yu Manran was about to go home, but he was brought back to the living room by the Bo family's butler. She realized that all 4 members of the Bo family were there. Annie Bo, you are? Yu Manran felt an inexplicable sense of fear. Man, have you seen Yun? Old Master Bo could not hold it in any longer. He stood up and held Yu Manran's hand as he asked.
Yes.
She was not the only one who had seen it. Everyone present had seen it. When Old Master Bo heard this, his heart ached. That's great. He actually managed to see Yun in person. But on the surface, Old Master Bo still patted Yu Manran's hand reservedly. Not bad, good boy. Yu Manran was speechless. What's with this high praise? Yu Manran suddenly felt flattered. One had to know that Old Master Bo rarely praised anyone. I wonder if I'll have the chance to see Yun, Old Master Bo muttered to himself. Actually, I think the Bo family and the Hor family have a good relationship. Yu Manran hinted crazily without batting an eyelid. If you're free, why don't you go and see Master Du? No, that fellow is not easy to get along with. I don't like him. Hearing this, Old Master Bo looked unhappy and let go of his hand instinctively, wanting to sit back on the sofa. However, Yu Manran suddenly grabbed him and insisted, "No, you like him." Chapter 458. Old Master Bo was stunned when he heard this. He did not know what this little girl meant. However, a dark look flashed past Bo Xiuqin's eyes and he said, "If there's a chance, I'll bring grandfather to visit." "No, why are we visiting the Hua family?" Old Master Bo was very resistant. Ever since he met that junior from the Hua family more than 10 years ago, he never wanted to have anything to do with him again. Grandfather, Shidu was still young back then. Didn't he just say a few words of truth? Why hold a grudge? Bo Xiuqin said leisurely. Old Master Bo was speechless. Did he just say a few words of truth? Initially, he had helped old Hua teach the child his homework out of goodwill. In the end, this child was so young. Were the questions humans could do? As a student of the mathematics department at Neely University and the oldest generation of intellectuals who had returned from overseas, he was discriminated against by a child. This was simply unbearable to look back on. After Yu Manran left, Bo Xiuqin still insisted on bringing Old Master Bo to visit the Hua family. Later on, the old master was so angry that he hugged his fishing rod and bucket for a few days and refused to go downstairs. The next day, the moment Bai Yunj returned home, she saw Huashidu walking back with Old Master Qin. It seemed that Huashidu's relationship with Old Master Qin had improved after staying in the Qin family's old residence for the past 2 days. However, Bai Yunj greeted him and still went upstairs first. "What has Ge been busy with recently?" Old Master Qin found it strange and turned to look at Huashidu. "Shidu, could it be that some brat has eaten a bear's heart and leopard's guts and has designs on my precious Ge?" Huashidu glanced at Bai Yunj's back view and laughed again.
No.
"No, Shidu, you don't know how bad the kids are nowadays." Old Master Qin thought of the negative news about high school students falling in love and was extremely nervous. He grabbed Huashidu's hand again. "Shidu, after grandfather's birthday banquet ends in a few days, I will return to your place. You have to pay more attention to Ge. Don't let Ge be abducted by bad boys." The man licked his itchy teeth casually and chuckled in a low voice. His posture was lazy and casual. "Grandpa, don't worry. With me around, this won't happen." Upstairs. As soon as Bai Yunj returned to her bedroom, she found that the strong pink color had disappeared and was replaced by a simple wooden design. It also made Bai Yunj feel inexplicably relieved. Very soon, Bai Yunj answered Du Zhao's call. "I've found it. Your score was used by a rather young girl in this selection competition. Her name is Qin Yojiao." Bai Yunj had just sat down to turn on the computer when she heard Old Master Qin's words. Her hand that was holding the mouse also paused. She said lazily, "It's her." Du Xiao did not expect that the person who stole Bai Yunj's score would be that talented girl. "She wants to compete with my score?" Bai Yunj chuckled as her eyes fell on the computer screen. Du Xiao said, "I'm not sure yet, but she's quite special." She knew that the person in charge this time was Wei Yuan and still dared to steal Yun's score. Wasn't he a little too bold? "Elder Du, check again and see who else is involved in this matter," Bai Yunj said slowly. "You mean someone is helping her?" Du Xiao froze. "If I'm not wrong, it should be someone from our nation." Chapter 459. From the invitation to Neely's 18th birthday ball, she knew that this matter had become interesting. That person must have appeared. If that's the case, then it's difficult. The forces in our nation are much more complicated. Du Xiao furrowed his eyebrows unconsciously. How did Qin Yojiao know someone from our nation? It doesn't matter if we can find out or not.
Okay.
Du Xiao replied, There's one more thing."
What?
"You should at least go and take a look at the last round of the International Musicians Association selection." Du Xiao sighed and said faintly, "Are we going to watch the video?" Du Xiao's eyelid twitched. "In the last round, the other 2 people in charge of assisting you will also go to Yuncheng. When the time comes, if you don't want to see anyone, you can speak behind the scenes, okay?" Bai Yunj said.
Okay.
Since he had already said so much, Lin Mingya had no choice but to accept. Time passed. In the piano room, Chung Zihuai turned around in surprise. Jiao Jiao, is this your new song? For the past 2 days, Qin Youjiao had been practicing this score almost all the time except for class. Qin Youjiao looked down and could not see her gaze clearly. She only heard her laugh. I asked the teacher to help me change it. Is the song all right? This song is very nice. Chung Zihuai was not flattering her. Even though he was a layman, he could feel that Qin Youjiao's song was a qualitative leap compared to before. Teacher changed it well. Qin Youjiao said deliberately. What's wrong? Did I not play well in the past? It's good. It's just that this song is too good. Ran Wenqing Zihuai came over and caressed Qin Youjiao's head, saying with a smile, Aren't you happy that I praise your improvement? Qin Youjiao said nothing. However, Chung Zihuai did not notice anything else and only said, Oh right, Jiao Jiao, I've learned a lot from Professor Hong recently. Thank you so much. If it wasn't for you, why would Professor Hong take me in as a student? Zihuai, you don't have to thank me. Many people have abandoned me during this period of time. Only you and my mother are on my side without hesitation. I should be the one thanking you.
Hearing this,
a trace of heartache flashed past Chung Zihuai's eyes. He felt that Qin Youjiao had changed a lot. In the past, Jiao Jiao could occasionally be spoiled and willful. She would even argue with him, and he would often be so angry that he would have a cold war with her. But now, Jiao Jiao had matured a lot. Jiao Jiao, don't worry. Even without the Qin family, you are the only person I have set my mind on. A dark look flashed across Chung Zihuai's eyes as he comforted her. Besides, how long can the Qin family protect Bei Yunj? Many people in the circle knew that the Xiao family and the Qin family were not on good terms.
And now,
as the Xiao family grew stronger, the Qin family's situation became worse and worse. After regaining his senses, Chung Zihuai asked curiously, By the way, Jiao Jiao, how do you know Professor Hong? The light in Qin Youjiao's eyes flickered. I don't know him, but my friend does. Last year, didn't I take a break from school and go to Country R?
It's a friend I met during that time. I see.
Chung Zihuai was surprised. Until school was over. Bei Yunj saw Ji Yiqing's message and did not go home. Instead, she asked the chauffeur to leave first and went to the cafe alone. However, on the way, she saw an old man in tattered clothes sitting by the roadside, fiddling with a laptop in his hand. Bei Yunj only glanced at him and saw the old man's slightly cloudy eyes staring fixedly at her. Chapter 460. Wait a minute. Bei Yunj glanced at him and found that his clothes were ragged, but his computer was well protected. The screen was cleaner than hers. She thought about it. Bei Yunj walked up to him and placed the remaining 700 yuan in front of him. That's all I have. I have something to do, so I'll leave first. The old man was speechless. Did she think he was a scammer? Seeing that Bei Yunj was about to leave, the old man suddenly said, Are you leaving just like that? However, when Bei Yunj heard this, she felt that the old man was determined to blackmail her. She laughed and lazily rested her chin on her hand. She squatted in front of him patiently. Sir, I'm just a student. Can we understand each other? The old man was speechless. This little girl was so pretty. Why did she speak so infuriatingly? Are you giving me this money? The old man took the money and looked at her strangely. Yes. Hearing this, after a long while, the old man came to a conclusion. This girl's words were infuriating, but she was a good person. Then I can't take it for free. Why don't I teach you how to use the computer? The old man thought for a while and looked at her with disdain, as if he was being merciful. Thank you. Hurry to go home and do my homework. With that, Bei Yunj stood up and patted the creases on her school skirt with a chuckle. Very soon, under the old man's gaze, she walked into a cafe. The old man was speechless. Weren't children nowadays too good at brushing people off too? You're so young, but you're so blind. Do you know what it means to have a pie fall from the sky? The old man was so angry that he wanted to smash the computer. He cursed for a long time.
Suddenly,
a pair of clean white shoes appeared in front of him. A fat cat. Do you want cake? The old man looked up and saw Bei Yunj handing him a packed cake and coffee. After a long while, he took the cake and coffee and muttered, "You're not bad, kid." Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows. "Not really. I just find you interesting." Usually, when she saw older wanderers, she would at most give them some money. The old man stopped unwrapping the box and asked nervously, "What do you mean?" "Your laptop is not cheap." Bei Yunj glanced at his laptop leisurely. "And you're not from country A, are you?" These words caused the old man's mind to become chaotic. This was the first time someone had asked him this question. "I'm from country R. How did you find out?" the old man asked. After all, he actually looked like someone from country A. "Your accent sounds strange." After Bei Yunj finished speaking, she was about to stand up and leave when she heard the old man's insistence. "You really don't want to learn computer science from me? I'm very powerful, and Sir, I'm quite busy." Bei Yunj smiled. The old man was speechless. Was he being looked down upon by someone? Back then, so many people in country R wanted to be his student. Now, even a high school student looked down on him? Thinking of this, the old man was angry and annoyed. He put the cake box aside and closed his eyes angrily. "You'll regret it." Unexpectedly, the beautiful girl in front of him said goodbye and really did not say anything. When he looked up, she was gone. At this moment, the old man almost wanted to curse. In the coffee shop, "I'm so sorry for being late." Ji Yiqing walked over quickly and said, "Thank you for helping me contact you last time." Bei Yunj paused. "You're welcome." Chapter 461. Ji Yiqing pinched the space between his eyebrows. His handsome face looked a little tired. It was obvious that he had put in a lot of effort into this case. "It's good that you found them. It'll be easy for them to return to the headquarters." Bei Yunj scooped a spoonful of cake and put it into her mouth. Ji Yiqing was speechless. What did she mean by it would be easy for them to return to the headquarters? "Get someone to contact the Institute of Computational Technology in our nation. They have negotiated with our nation and will help to solve the problem of locating the gang's headquarters." After all, the Institute of Computational Technology was our nation's national institution. Compared to other people, our nation naturally trusted the researchers in their country. However, it was also a little difficult for them to understand why this group of immortals would suddenly come down to the mortal world to care about the country's affairs. Really? Ji Yiqing almost thought that he was hallucinating. Bei Yunj glanced at him and did not say a word. After a long while, however, Ji Yiqing's gaze on Bei Yunj gradually turned meaningful. "Miss Bei." Bei Yunj looked up and saw Ji Yiqing's gaze. It was as if he had seen through everything. Hence, even the spoon that was digging into the cake stopped. "Don't tell me you're..." Ji Yiqing narrowed his eyes. "Are you a good friend of mine?" Bei Yunj put the cash under the teacup and stood up again. "You can handle the aftermath of this matter properly. I'll take my leave first." With that, Bei Yunj left without looking back. Looking at Bei Yunj's back view, Ji Yiqing was also a little dazed. He did not expect this matter to be settled so quickly. Yuncheng's First People's Hospital. "Why are you here again?" The man on the hospital bed had a low and magnetic voice. Even the smell of disinfectant in the air was mixed with an inexplicable sweet smell. The old man fanned his nose and said in disdain, "Are the nurses and female doctors too diligent?" There was a strong smell of perfume. "It's a routine check." The man was good-looking and had deep eyebrows. However, his gaze was as calm as the Dead Sea, and his thin lips were gently pursed. If one took a closer look, they would realize that the man was wearing a hospital gown. His left trouser leg was sunken, and there was nothing on it. This man was handicapped. Come on, if it weren't for your face, how could the nurses be so diligent? The old man's clothes were ragged, but he was carrying an exquisite fruit basket and a bunch of roses wrapped in black paper. This also attracted the man's attention. "Where did you get the money to buy a present?" He chuckled. "Don't talk about it. A very beautiful little girl thought I was a scammer. She gave me 700 yuan and left." Hearing this, the man also seemed to find it novel, and a low chuckle sounded softly. The old man looked at him for a while. I haven't heard you laugh like that in a long time, Xiangyan. The smile on Xiangyan's lips disappeared. Are you really not returning to country R? Those people in your family are not easy to deal with. They are probably trying to divide up your family property. The old man was silent for a moment and suddenly smiled. I suddenly don't want to give it to them anymore. Before this, he had indeed planned to let whoever wanted to take the family property. What do you mean? Xiangyan looked at him in surprise. Isn't it good to find a suitable successor? At this point, the old man thought of the little girl who didn't seem to be easy to deal with. You're really generous. Xiangyan couldn't help but smile. So, you're preparing to go back? I want to look for a successor here. At the same time, I'll get old Zhong to pull some strings. Hearing this, Xiangyan glanced at the old man. If the outside world knew that the Higgins family was looking for a successor, the situation would change. Chapter 462. You really do come up with something as you please. Xiangyan smiled silently. It's been too long since I've met someone interesting. The old man looked out of the window and smiled. At this moment, there was also a commotion at the Computing Institute. Zhong Xinlin called Marcus. Do you know that Nance came to Yuncheng? Marcus did not seem to have expected Zhong Xinlin to mention this person.
He was silent for a long time.
He left a long time ago. The Higgins family has been in a mess for a long time. It's about the heir and the division of the family assets. Zhong Xinlin was silent for a while. Then, do you know that he's preparing to choose an heir here? Is this old guy crazy? Marcus' body stiffened. Soon after, he was so shocked that he cursed. This Nance had traveled thousands of miles just to find a successor in Yuncheng. Was it because the flowers in our nation weren't bright enough that he started to be infatuated with the flowers and plants overseas? I don't know what's wrong with him either. He's already asked me to help investigate the elites in the computing field below the age of 35. Zhong Xinlin couldn't help but hit the back of his head. He didn't even like Si Qingyan just now. Who else does he want? He thought that this guy wanted to go to heaven. What heir? If he chose this condition, he wouldn't be able to find a successor even if half of his body was buried in the ground. Did Nance suffer some agitation at your place? I don't know about that. Zhong Xinlin's lips twitched. Anyway, don't spread this matter. Otherwise, who knows how much trouble it will cause. If we don't spread it, we won't be able to hide it for long. Many people know that Nance went to Yuncheng this time. You're looking for the heir of the Higgins family, with great fanfare. How can you not be targeted? Marcus chuckled. This was one of the 4 major families in our nation. 0, 20, even the veteran members of our nation's Institute of Computational Technology were members of the research department that Higgins Corporation had split. Few people knew that Marcus was actually a researcher that Nance had brought along when he was young. This time, we're recruiting elites in the computing field in the name of a competition. Of course, we won't use Higgins' name. Zhong Xinlin continued. As for some outstanding juniors in the computing industry, I'll get Si Qingyan to invite them one by one. This was also to satisfy Nancy. Si Qingyan didn't even take a liking to her. This guy has high standards. I advise you not to waste your efforts. Marcus and Zhong Xinlin chatted for a while, and both of them forgot about a person in the office. Evening. Bei Yunj had just returned to the old residence when she realized that the house was very quiet. She looked around and saw only Huishidu, who was sitting on the sofa and working. Upon seeing this scene, Bei Yunj suddenly remembered that she often saw this scene when she returned home from her family. Brother. Bei Yunj greeted her and was about to go upstairs. Yun, are you still angry with me? Bei Yunj was stunned for a moment before she turned to look at Huishidu.
No.
Bei Yunj rarely lost her temper. Even if she did, it would come and go quickly. This was a typical case of being too lazy to fuss over things. By the way, where are Grandpa and the rest? Bei Yunj asked. Grandpa went to visit a friend. As for the others, they should be busy. Hearing this, Bei Yunj glanced at Huishidu. She felt that Huishidu's way of calling him Grandpa was more natural than hers. Then I'll go upstairs first. Bei Yunj had just finished speaking when Huishidu put down his laptop before she could go up. Chapter 463. The moment he finished speaking, Before Bei Yunj could turn around and say anything, she suddenly heard a voice at the door. Yunj. Bei Yunj looked up and saw Ji Yiqing walking in from the door. She did not notice Huashida's expression either. Why are you here? Bei Yunj was a little surprised. You forgot to take your things. Ji Yiqing handed her the book he had brought over. Listening to their conversation, those who did not know would think that the two of them had a good relationship in private. Bei Yunj could even forget to leave the book with Ji Yiqing. But at this moment, Bei Yunj only noticed the thick computer book in Ji Yiqing's hand and caught it instinctively. She said, "Thank you." Ji Yiqing chuckled. The cover of this book seems to be in a foreign language. There's no translation. After all, it was Bei Yunj's book, so Ji Yiqing did not flip through it carelessly. However, he sized up the cover of the book. It was filled with obscure professional terms. I like to flip through it when I can't sleep. Bei Yunj nodded. The two of them seemed to be chatting happily. However, the man who was left out next to her had clear and handsome eyes. His expression was indifferent, but there was a hint of imperceptible coldness in them. His posture was lazy and cold, and he unconsciously licked the tip of his teeth as he looked at Ji Yiqing with a faint smile.
Soon.
Even Ji Yiqing felt uneasy and turned to look at Huashidu instinctively. So Master Du is here too. In the beginning, when he was chatting with Bei Yunj and found out that Bei Yunj had returned to the Qin family's old mansion, he was still wondering if Master Du was really planning to become a vegetarian. However, he did not expect that in the blink of an eye, even Master Du would come to someone else's house in order to woo the little girl. He was not afraid that the young masters of the Qin family would hold a grudge against him. He was extraordinarily bold. It seems like young Master Ji wishes that I wasn't here. The man's tone was light, and his pale-colored eyes were abstinent, but the corners of his upturned eyes were charming. However, Ji Yiqing only felt some kind of danger lurking in this gaze. Master Du must be joking. How could I? Ji Yiqing laughed dryly and suddenly thought of an idea to adjust the atmosphere. Isn't it time to eat? The man said calmly, Young Master Ji, if you want to eat, you can go back early. Ji Yiqing. Sure, it was a very straightforward order for him to leave. At this moment, how could Ji Yiqing not tell that Huashidu found him an eyesore? Hence, Ji Yiqing looked at Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj, who hadn't noticed anything, glanced at the two of them. It's still early for dinner. Ji Yiqing put on a fake smile. Then you guys, Huashida did not look at Ji Yiqing. Instead, he reached out naturally and tidied Bei Yunj's messy hair. As if there was no one else around, he asked, Do you want to train with me? Huashida thought that this child was only in her second year of high school, but he had never seen her train. If she reached the third year of high school, it would be easy for her body to deteriorate. Therefore, after Bei Yunj changed her clothes, she led her men to the garden behind the villa. However, to Huashidu's surprise, Ji Yiqing was so thick-skinned that he actually pestered him and followed him. Master Du, we haven't seen each other in a long time. Why are you so unwilling to see me? Ji Yiqing asked with a smile. Huashida glanced at the little girl running on the other side of the lake and turned around. He said carelessly, When did you become so familiar with my child? Chapter 464. Hearing this, Ji Yiqing raised an eyebrow. He did not expect Huashidu to ask him so straightforwardly. Of course, it's a private matter. Didn't you ask Yunj? Ji Yiqing smiled unconsciously. These words were inexplicably ambiguous. Gradually, Huashidu stopped in his tracks. When he looked up, his pale-colored eyes were filled with danger. Ji Yiqing. However, in the next second, before Huashidu could continue speaking, he suddenly heard a voice not far away. Brother. Huashidu glanced sideways and saw a bright and overly beautiful girl standing on the bridge. She leaned her hands lazily against the stone railing and rested her cheek on one hand as she looked at him with curved eyes. I'm thirsty. To Ji Yiqing's surprise, after Bei Yunj said this, Huashidu really went back to get water for Bei Yunj. It's my first time seeing Master Du dote on someone so much. Seeing Bei Yunj come down from the bridge, Ji Yiqing chuckled. Pei Yunj only used the towel around her neck to wipe her sweat. Her tone was casual and casual. Ji Yiqing, don't make my brother angry. Ji Yiqing raised an eyebrow before his eyes met Pei Yunj's beautiful and clear eyes. You know that Shidu is unhappy even though you're so far away? Ji Yiqing was interested. He originally thought that Master Du's love was one-sided, but now it seemed like that was not the case. Isn't it obvious? Pei Yunj did not pay much attention to the meaning in Ji Yiqing's words. He only saw Huashidu return not far away and immediately walked over. After the break, Ji Yiqing watched as Pei Yunj left and walked to Huashidu's side. He could not help sighing. 361 reading, Master Du, isn't your little girl too considerate? A girl who looked like she was quite troublesome was quite enviable when she was protective. Huashidu's eyes darkened. He roughly knew what his little girl had done after he went to get water. He smirked. Really? Ji Yiqing glanced at Huashidu's expression and was a little interested. You don't seem very curious why I said that. If you know something, you won't be curious. Huashidu's tone was light as he looked up at him. Shouldn't you be leaving? Ji Yiqing. So, she didn't think that he had the ability to steal her, she just didn't like him being an eyesore. All right, I won't be an eyesore anymore. Ji Yiqing threw the bottle of mineral water into the trash can and looked at him again. He smiled and said, but as a friend, I still have to remind you that you have to keep a close eye on this person. This was especially true for young girls. Their fondness for him was passionate and undisguised. But it comes and goes quickly. Young Master Ji has fallen in love once. You have quite a deep understanding. Huashidu laughed slowly. Ji Yiqing. Was this the same as stabbing wherever it hurt? Pei Yunj didn't run for long before she sat down on the grass and scanned through the documents. I don't want to. The next moment, a figure stood in front of her, blocking the dim yellow light of the street lamp. Pei Yunj looked up. The man in front of her curled his lips imperceptibly. Then, he squatted down lightly and pinched her bright and fair face as a punishment. His low voice was filled with a magnetic smile and teasing, as if it could easily stir people's hearts. No wonder brother couldn't find you. So you were slacking off here. Pei Yunj. On the asphalt road. Chapter 465. This man's stamina was quite good. After running for so long, he didn't even catch his breath. 10 minutes later, Pei Yunj no longer had the patience to continue running. Then, she tugged at the man's clothes in front of her. Brother, it's time to eat. Pei Yunj had been sitting in the research lab or sleeping in the classroom for too long. Indeed, she couldn't keep up. Yunyan, your physical fitness isn't good. I'll give you some time to catch your breath. Why don't you run later? Huashidu looked at the little girl in front of him. Her eyes were black and bright. She clearly didn't look tired. Her cheeks were still pink, but she was already shouting for him to stop. What a delicate child. Who would think? When Pei Yunj heard this, she looked at him faintly. You're the one who's panting. The man was slightly taken aback for no reason. Then, his light and unhurried eyebrows curved, revealing a hint of a smile and laziness. His sexy Adam's apple bobbed, and he couldn't help but laugh softly. It was a little hoarse. After adjusting his emotions, Huashidu leaned closer to her. His magnetic voice was light and flirtatious, as if it was teasing the wind beside her ear. It was extremely ambiguous. Okay, then Yun, come closer. Let me breathe for you? Even Pei Yunj couldn't help but stiffen. Her ears felt as if they had been scalded. Was this man the reincarnation of a vixen? You. Pei Yunj's bright and lazy eyes were filled with an indescribable look.
For the first time
in her life, Pei Yunj was speechless. Looking at Pei Yunj's expression, the man's lazy voice dragged out, as if he was blatantly seducing her. His deep voice was filled with a bewitching magnetism. Yun, you really don't want to hear it? Pei Yunj's thoughts were in a mess, and she didn't notice a strange emotion in her heart. She was almost seduced into nodding in agreement. I'm going to eat. Pei Yunj walked around the man and walked forward without looking back. Not long after, when she returned to the living room, Bei Yunj subconsciously took a deep breath, but her racing heart still could not calm down for a long time. To hell with it. Bei Yunj couldn't help muttering to herself. Why was she bewitched every time she met Hwashidu? Hungda. Year 2 Class 7. Bei Yunj was holding a glass of milk in one hand, a plastic bag in the other, and a croissant in her other hand. She looked particularly elegant as she ate. Lu Yuanxi could not help asking, Yunj, you've been eating croissants for almost a week, right? And the most ridiculous thing was that every time Bei Yunj came in, there was no student on duty to deduct her points. Wasn't his luck too good? 4 days. Bei Yunj put the milk on the table and said slowly. Lu Yuanxi couldn't be bothered to say anything. He turned around and started crazily doing his homework. After a while, Master Pei, can I borrow your math homework? I didn't write anything. Lu Yuanxi's hand paused. He couldn't help but look at her and ask, what are you doing now? Was the math teacher not cruel enough? I like to eat hot food. Bei Yunj slowly finished the last small piece of croissant in her hand. Then, she took out a croissant from the plastic bag. For some reason, Lu Yuanxi blurted out, is it really that delicious? Bei Yunj generously gave Lu Yuanxi one. Lu Yuanxi glanced at Bei Yunj with some distrust before he picked it up and took a bite. So, in the first period of math class, Bei Yunj and Lu Yuanxi stood neatly at the door as punishment. Lu Yuanxi, the two of you who share the same table are really good buddies. You don't do your homework, but you still remember to eat breakfast? Chapter 466. Don't come back if you can't solve this question. The math teacher angrily threw out a sentence and returned to the classroom. At this moment, Bei Yunj and Lu Yuanxi were leaning against the railing, doing their homework in unison. Master Pei. Lu Yuanxi suddenly shouted. Bei Yunj did not even look up. What's the matter? Lu Yuanxi leaned over and asked softly. Where did you buy the croissant? Didn't he dislike it at first? It's next to the supermarket on Nanhua Road. It's owned by an auntie. After Bei Yunj finished speaking calmly, she added, she's a pretty auntie. Lu Yuanxi. Actually, Lu Yuanxi could already guess which shop it was after hearing Bei Yunj's words. After all, the boys had been spreading the rumor for a long time that there was a shop on Nanhua Road and that the auntie was very pretty. But he did not expect Bei Yunj to be someone who valued beauty. Just as Lu Yuanxi was deep in thought, Bei Yunj suddenly put down her pen and said, I'm done. Lu Yuanxi could not help but look up at her. These questions haven't been published yet, right? Really? I don't know. With that said, Bei Yunj wanted to leave, but was stopped by Lu Yuanxi. Master Pei, can you do me a favor? Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows. The questions are different. I can't help. The mathematics teacher had specially given them 2 different sets of questions to prevent them from borrowing from each other. I'll buy you croissants for a month. Bei Yunj did not say anything when she heard this. Lu Yuanxi took a deep breath and said, 2 months.
Keep a lookout.
Bei Yunj took over Lu Yuanxi's practice questions. 139 Reading Network. Lu Yuanxi. Nanhua Road was under repair, so they had to take a detour to get there. They had to walk for at least 10 minutes. Just as Lu Yuanxi was wondering if he had made a loss, Bei Yunj threw the practice questions into his arms in less than 10 minutes. He walked into the classroom again. Lu Yuanxi was stunned for a moment. Then, he lowered his head to take a look and realized that the handwriting was similar to his. Was Bei Yunj even human? She wrote for him for 7 to 8 minutes in exchange for him running errands for 2 months? So fast? The math teacher was a little suspicious, but after flipping through Bei Yunj's questions, he couldn't find any mistakes.
Suddenly,
the mathematics teacher thought of Yunqing University. He heard that the mathematics professor of Yunqing University seemed to like Bei Yunj. He had originally thought that it was just a rumor, but now it seemed to be quite credible. I've never taught you the content of these questions, the math teacher said. My brother taught me. Bei Yunj said calmly. Immediately, the 3 young masters of the Qin family appeared in everyone's minds. Wasn't Bei Yunj's life too good? Her Prince Charming was personally tutoring her. How bad could it be? The math teacher nodded. Not bad. Do well in this monthly exam and try to get into the top 50.
Hearing this,
Bae-yunj paused for a moment and glanced at the math teacher. Okay. But when the audience heard this, they couldn't help but laugh. Ling Jiwei said sarcastically, Top 50? Teacher, isn't it a pipe dream to get into the top 50 from the bottom 20 in our school? But didn't Bae-yunj come in first in the physics competition? Someone couldn't help whispering. Ling Jiwei hid the gloom in her eyes and said sarcastically, Yes, she came in first in the competition. Chapter 467. Everyone in the class heard Ling Jiwei's words clearly. I've asked my uncle. There are only two people who can get full marks in the competition for decades. One is Professor Si Chungyen, who is now working at Yuncheng University, and the other is you. A dark glint flashed across Bae-yunj's eyes. No one could tell what she was thinking. Is that so? Professor Si Chungyen was the top scorer in the National College entrance examination back then and got first place with 739 points. The second place was less than Professor Si Chungyen by more than 10 points. Ling Jiwei's tone was arrogant, as if the person she was talking about was herself. Of course, when you hear this, you will think that this score is nothing. But you have to know that the average score of Professor Si Chungyen's National College entrance examination was a failure. When everyone heard this, a thought appeared in their minds. It was the college entrance examination in 2007. Everyone still remembered the college entrance examination in 2007. This was not because of anything else, but because the questions of the college entrance examination that year had been leaked, so they had officially started to use backup scripts. However, who would have thought that the backup scripts would be like purgatory? Almost all the university's cutoff scores had dropped by dozens of points. When they came back to their senses, everyone was also shocked. They were even afraid that they would encounter such a terrible thing. However, gradually, everyone looked at Bae-yunj with more probing and suspicion because of Ling Jiwei's words. Si Chungyen was only in his 20s, yet he could become a professor at Yun University. Everyone had heard of his heaven-defying results along the way. But what about Bae-yunj? Other than this physics competition, were there any other results that could be taken out? Student Ling seems to have always been very concerned about me. Bae-yunj's lips curled up. There was no guilt or fear in her eyes. I also don't want Hengda to have a morally corrupt student. Ling Jiwei sneered. The math teacher frowned. Ling Jiwei. Bae-yunj, if you can get into the top 50, whatever happens to you has nothing to do with me. Bae-yunj interrupted her slowly, her tones still lazy. After all, I still remember what happened to student Ling on the field last time. Bae-yunj, Ling Jiwei was furious. She did not expect that Bae-yunj would dare to bring up this matter. Student Ling, it's good for everyone if you don't do things that lower your intelligence. Bae-yunj said slowly, and then looked at the math teacher. Teacher, can I go back to my seat now? Go. The math teacher nodded and gave Ling Jiwei a warning look. Ling Jiwei gritted her teeth and glanced at Bae-yunj viciously. Her hand that was holding the pen clenched into a fist. Didn't Bae-yunj take advantage of the fact that her homeroom teacher doted on her and Liu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing treated her well? She wanted to see how many people would pay attention to this woman once they saw her true colors. After class, Bae-yunj was called to the office. At first, Bae-yunj thought it was about math class, but she didn't expect Mr. Wen to look for her just to talk about the Hengda exchange competition. Teacher, I'm not free. Bae-yunj rejected him decisively, without any hesitation. You don't have to attend every class. Just come once for math or physics. How about we make up the numbers? Mr. Wen was indeed in a hurry. Otherwise, he wouldn't have looked for Bae-yunj. Mr. Wen, I don't like to participate in this kind of competition. Bae-yunj's tone was casual, but her attitude was firm. Forget it. He didn't have much hope for her anyway. Mr. Wen sighed. Okay, then call Chu Zhixing over. Okay. Bae-yunj's lips curved. Chapter 468. At the same time, at the Computing Institute. Why are you in such a hurry to organize a competition? Si Chungyen asked in confusion. He had been counting the number of participants since yesterday. What else can I do? If it weren't for the fact that you weren't fancied, would I have gone through so much trouble? Zhong Shunlin chuckled. When Si Qingyan heard this, he immediately reacted. Is it because Nance wants to organize a competition? What else? Zhong Shenlin glanced at him and said faintly, That's true. How can we get so much money as a bonus? Si Qingyan nodded. Zhong Shenlin was speechless. Was this brat looking for a scolding again?
Then,
Before Zhong Shenlin could find fault with him, Si Qingyan paused. After seeing the name of the applicant, he couldn't help but sneer. This Hong Chongjin is really shameless. Hong Chongjin actually let Cheng Zihuai participate in our Computing Institute's competition. Cheng Zihuai, is that in turn? Zhong Shenlin had some impression of him. That's right. This is too strange. Does Hong Chongjin lack this bit of money? Why did he let Cheng Zihuai participate in our competition? Si Qingyan raised his eyebrows. You have to know that Cheng Zihuai is his personal student now. What other reason could there be? He must have received the news. Zhong Shenlin was calm and not anxious at all. Hearing this, Si Qingyan froze. He received the news? Isn't he aiming for the position of the successor? 27 so, what if he's here? I didn't say that he could be the heir for the first place reward. Zhong Shenlin chuckled. Hong Chongjin, this old thing, had scolded Go-er in public and still wanted his student to compete for the position of heir?
dream on.
Nance doesn't even like you. Are you afraid that he will like Cheng Zihuai? Zhong Shenlin glanced at him. Si Qingyan was speechless. There was no need to mention him. Does an heir have to focus on computing skills? Si Qingyan was curious. Of course not for the other heirs, but Higgins Group is special. This is a group that started with scientific research. Zhong Shenlin clicked his tongue. The ability of the future heir will directly affect the lifeline of the Higgins family. Zhong Shenlin slowly picked up the food in the hot pot with his chopsticks. TSK, you see, Nancy has only left the Higgins family for 10 years and the Higgins family has fallen to such a state. However, more than 10 years ago, among the 4 great clans, only the Higgins clan was not a century-old distinguished clan. Although they did not have much wealth, they were still at the peak of their power. What did he rely on? It was Nancy's irreplaceable scientific research technology.
But now?
After Nancy left, the Higgins family had been going downhill. From the original second son to the current third and fourth sons, they're almost officially leaving the 4 great clans. But scientific research alone shouldn't be able to change the current situation of the Higgins family, right? Si Qingyan said. Internal strife and external chaos was the current situation of the Higgins family. If Nancy hadn't left behind so many things, the Higgins family probably wouldn't have survived for 10 years. That's right. No matter where the heir is, methods and connections are very important. That's why I find it strange too. What's wrong with Nancy? He must find a young heir. Zhong Shenlin ate a meatball and said slowly. Who knew the door was suddenly kicked open? Old Zhong, what do you mean? Am I crazy? Chapter 469. Initially, he just wanted to know what Zhong Shenlin was doing in the office. The door was closed. However, he did not expect this old man to speak ill of him while cooking hot pot. Sinister. Hypocrite. Zhong Shenlin's bowl stopped. He did not expect to be caught red-handed. However, the next moment, Zhong Shenlin calmly stuffed the freshly cooked beef roll into his mouth. Isn't this the truth? How can I not know how many talents there are in Yun Cheng's computing field? You don't even like Si Qingyan. With that, Zhong Shenlin hurriedly added another bowl and chopsticks. Nance, come, let's eat together. Nance's expression did not look too good, but smelling the fragrance of the hot pot, he gradually gave in. He reached for the bowl and chopsticks. I'm not done with you. Don't think I can forgive you. Nance's face was cold, but he quickly picked up the tripe that Zhong Shenlin had just cooked and ate it. Zhong Shenlin, who knew that he was in the wrong, did not care about this. Besides, actually, most people did not know that when Zhong Shenlin was studying at Neely University, Nance was his professor. Even so, Nance was only 6 years older than Zhong Shenlin. I say, quickly change your clothes. Otherwise, when the security guards change next time, let's see if you can get in. Zhong Shenlin glanced at Nance in disdain. He was the head of the Higgins family and the former principal of Neely University after all. How could he make himself look so sloppy? Who would have thought that this was the most feared existence in the scientific research community back then? I don't care. Nance snorted. Zhong Shunlin sneered. Yes, I've never seen you care in my life. He was the most troublesome person in the scientific research field. He was a classic example of someone who did not care about his life. Back when Nance was still the principal of Neely University, because of the change in our nation's policy, the interaction between overseas teachers and students was reduced. This guy directly filed an administrative lawsuit. In other words, he sued the government of our nation. What was even more shocking was that he had actually won the fight. Because Neely University's law school was one of the best in the world. Not really. This time, I must find an heir, Nancy said vaguely while eating hot pot. Have you taken a fancy to someone's successor? Are you too embarrassed to ask? Zhong Shunlin sat down and stuffed a mouthful of beef into his mouth. The wonderful taste on his taste buds made him smile. He pointed at Nancy with his chopsticks as if he was happy, without any worries. Tell me which family's successor you've taken a fancy to. I'll secretly get him back for you. When Nancy heard this, she put down her bowl and chopsticks sadly. Sigh, actually, I've really taken a liking to one. But he's just a high school student. Hearing this, Zhong Shunlin did not react at first, but Si Qingyan seemed to have suddenly thought of someone. The way he looked at Nancy became subtle. High school student. Nance was a little surprised that Si Qingyan would suddenly interrupt at this time. Yes, she gave me 700 yuan. She was afraid that I would cheat her. Si Qingyan was speechless. Zhong Shunlin. Where did this person come from? Her brain circuit was so strange. Then it's even easier. You can go and learn. Find her in school. Old master, an intern will come and look for me later. Eat faster, Si Qingyan suddenly interrupted. The Computing Institute was explicitly prohibited from eating and drinking in the institute, except for the dining hall specially configured in the Computing Institute. However, those people would never have thought that their director was already cooking hot pot in his office. Chapter 470. I know. You're so naggy. After Zhong Shunlin and Nance finished the hot pot, they hurriedly opened the curtains to let in the smell. After sitting back at his desk, Zhong Shunlin glanced at Nance and said slowly, Anyway, we're organizing a competition for you, but whether you can find an heir you like is still up in the air. You don't have to worry. I'll come and take a look on the day of the competition, Nance said. Okay, then remember to change your clothes. Hearing Zhong Shunlin's words, Nancy was just about to refute when he heard Zhong Shunlin's words. Zhong Shunlin looked at him gloatingly and said, Otherwise, whether he is willing to be your heir or not is another matter. Nance was speechless. The day before the third round of the International Musicians Association selection, Mr. Qin pinched between his eyebrows. He did not expect to see Qin Yojiao and an unfamiliar girl the moment he returned home. Yojiao? When Mr. Qin turned to look at Mrs. Qin, he immediately understood what was going on. However, Mr. Qin's feelings were very complicated at this moment. He did not express much intimacy with his daughter whom he had not seen for a long time. The last time at the old mansion, Qin Yojiao had unintentionally revealed that Bai Yunj had gotten first place in the competition by cheating. His memory was still fresh. However, although the Jiao in his impression was spoiled and occasionally willful, she was pure and kind. She was considerate of her parents and friendly with her classmates. But now, why was she treating Go-er like this? Dad, you're back. I'm going to participate in the third round of the International Musicians Association selection tomorrow and wanted to see you. Qin Yojiao went forward and said with a smile. At this moment, the girl beside her also said politely, Hello, Uncle Qin. I'm Ling Jiwei from Year 2 Class 7. I'm Jiao Jiao's good friend.
Hello.
Mr. Qin finally realized and could not help asking, Are you in the same class as Ge? Ling Jiwei did not expect Mr. Qin to ask this.
Yes.
Ling Jiwei immediately changed the topic and said with a smile, It's difficult to get a spot in the International Musicians Association. Among her peers, only Jiao Jiao has entered the second round. In the future, if Jiao Jiao can enter, she will definitely be able to help Uncle a lot. Hearing that the topic had shifted to Qin Yojiao, Mr. Qin, he did not know what to say. Seeing this, Qin Yojiao suddenly asked, Dad, are you angry with me because I told you that Yunj got first place in the exam? I'm not angry. Mr. Qin looked at his daughter, whom he had doted on for nearly 20 years, and sighed. However, he still felt a little uncomfortable. What happened? Hearing this, Ling Jiwei could not help but look at Mr. Qin and Qin Yojiao in confusion. However, it didn't take long for Ling Jiwei to roughly guess the reason. Bei Yunj was really a jinx. She had already snatched away Yu Jiao's brothers, and now she was trying to bewitch Yu Jiao's father. Uncle Qin, Yu Jiao has never bullied Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj, on the other hand, slapped Yu Jiao in front of so many people at school. Ling Jiwei turned to look at Mrs. Qin and said, and he saw this too. Hearing this, Mr. Qin's gaze changed, and he immediately looked at Qin Yojiao. Jiao, really? There were still tears at the corners of Qin Yojiao's eyes as she bit her lip. I've already said that Jiao can only be bullied. Mrs. Qin walked over, her tone filled with gloom and anger towards Bei Yunj. She's just relying on the fact that she's the legitimate eldest young miss of the Qin family to hit Jiao in front of me. Ling Jiwei immediately agreed. And he is right. And the results of the competition. Uncle Qin, do you think a person with poor results in the past can suddenly get full marks? Chapter 471. Mr. Qin did not answer directly, but he still had some doubts about this matter. The difficulty of the national competition was obvious. There were first places every year, but how many people could get full marks? Uncle, Yo Jiao just doesn't want you to be deceived. You can't be so distant and delicate just because you favor Bei Yunj. With that said, Mrs. Qin's voice sounded from the side. Did you hear that? Even a child can see it clearer than you. Bei Yunj was first? Did the entire Qin family not know about Bei Yunj's results back then? How could she have the ability to get first? No matter what, Mrs. Qin did not believe it. But it doesn't seem like someone who would lie. Mr. Qin clenched his fists. At the thought of Bei Yunj's distant gaze, his heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. Qin Ting, that's enough. Don't you know what Bei Yunj is like? If she really has this ability, why didn't she show it back then? Mrs. Qin placed the black teapot on the table heavily. She laughed coldly. Do you not believe it, or do you not dare to believe it? Mom, that's enough. Qin Yojiao pulled Mrs. Qin back. Look, when we quarrel, who's the one who's going to advise us? Bei Yunj is your daughter, but think about it carefully. If you die in front of her one day, will she take another look at you? You. Mr. Qin glared at Mrs. Qin, but he could not say a word. However, Ling Jiwei, who was beside him, did not expect the Qin family to be in such a situation. Mr. Qin was wavering. Only Mrs. Qin stood on Qin Yojiao's side. Dad, I have something on. I'll get going first, Qin Yojiao suddenly said. Hearing this, Mr. Qin's body froze, and he looked at Qin Yojiao. Then you. Take good care of yourself. Jiao doesn't care about anything else. With that said, Qin Yojiao pulled Ling Jiwei and left without looking back. This scene caused Mr. Qin's body to stiffen. His heart began to waver again. Jiao, what do you have at this time? Didn't you ask me to help you? Ling Jiwei found it strange. Why did Qin Yojiao give up halfway? At this moment, the moment Qin Yojiao came out, the forbearance and sadness on her face disappeared. Instead, there was an inexplicable smile on her lips. There's no need for that. You've done what you can. At this time, she didn't need to keep acting pitiful in front of Mr. Qin. On the contrary, doing this would only make Mr. Qin regret it even more. In other words, it would destroy the trust that Mr. Qin had just built for Bei Yunj. Hearing Qin Yojiao say this, Ling Jiwei only seemed to understand a little.
Suddenly.
Wei, thank you for today. I have to go back first. Be careful on the road, Qin Yojiao said gently. Why are you being so polite with me? Ling Jiwei's tone was full of disgust for Bei Yunj. That kind of person is difficult to deal with. If you have any difficulties, don't shoulder them alone. I know, Wei Wei. In the car. Did you bring Ling Jiwei back to see Auntie Qin? Qin Youjiao bit her lip and only nodded. However, the moment Cheng Zihuai saw Qin Youjiao like this, he immediately felt that something was wrong. Not long after, Jiao Jiao, are your eyes red? No, sand got into my eyes. Qin Youjiao rubbed her eyes, but when these words landed in Cheng Zihuai's ears, his eyes turned cold. It's Bei Yunj again, isn't it? All right, Zihuai, don't you still have to prepare for the computing competition?
Don't worry about me.
Seeing that Qin Youjiao was pretending to be happy despite being wronged, anger rose in Cheng Zihuai's heart. Suddenly, a thought flashed through his mind, and he sneered. How can I be the only one participating in this competition? With that said, Cheng Zihuai turned on his computer and entered a command that Qin Youjiao could not understand. About half an hour later, Qin Youjiao saw that Cheng Zihuai was actually participating in the competition and had signed up for Bei Yunj. Chapter 472. After Qin Youjiao regained her senses, she said, Zihuai, you're signing Bei Yunj up? That's right. Cheng Zihuai's tone was mocking as he said coldly, didn't she say that she likes computers? Then this time, I'll give her a chance. Zihuai, aren't you too amazing? I didn't even understand how you did it just now. Qin Youjiao flattered him on the surface, but she was gloating in her heart. So, what if Bei Yunj had been in the limelight recently? Cheng Zihuai still hated her so much. As for this competition organized by the Computing Institute, she heard from Zihuai that the participants were all relatively young top talents in the computing field. If Bei Yunj went over, wouldn't she be mocked? I hacked into the computer of the form teacher of Class 7. Although it took a lot of time, it was worth it to teach Bei Yunj a lesson. During this period of time, although Hong Chongjin had not taught him personally, his senior brothers and sisters were very good to him and taught him a lot. Zihuai, you're so capable. I believe you can definitely get first place in the competition. A faint smile appeared on Cheng Zihuai's lips, but he suddenly remembered Jianxi. His eyes darkened. If Jianxi was here, this competition might be troublesome. Si Qingyan, who was sorting out the information in the Computing Institute, stopped holding the mouse. He looked at the name of the new application. Name: Bei Yunj. Age: 19. Computing self-evaluation. ACI Qingyan was speechless.
Soon.
Si Qingyan took a deep breath and looked at Zhong Xinglin, who was sitting on the sofa beside him. Old Zhong, look at this competition. Didn't I say that you'll be responsible for this? If you think she's not bad, can't you just stay? Si Qingyan was speechless.
Sure.
You said it yourself. Si Qingyan glanced at Zhong Xinlin meaningfully before looking at Bei Yunj's information. What exactly was this ancestor trying to do here? It couldn't be for this few million, right? As someone who had won a 10 billion yuan project, he wouldn't let go of this bit of money? Bei Yunj, who was working on a project at home, suddenly heard a vibration. He opened it and saw that it was a notification. Institute of Computing. Miss Bei Yunj, please go to the Institute of Computing to participate in the competition in 3 days. Bei Yunj snorted and threw the phone onto the bed, too lazy to look at it. These days, they dared to send any kind of scam text messages. It was already late at night. Bei Yunj did not stop what she was doing. She only took off her silver-rimmed glasses when she heard a knock on the door. Open the door. What she saw was a man with a tall and straight posture. You're still awake? The man seemed to have known that Bei Yunj was still awake. Soon. Bei Yunj herself didn't notice that her eyes were slightly red as she had been focused on the project for the past 2 days. Grandpa's birthday banquet is in a few days. Do you want to buy some gifts? Huashidu suddenly asked. I haven't decided what to buy yet. Bei Yunj had a headache when he heard about this. Choosing a gift was the hardest thing to do. There's an auction on Sunday. Shall I take you there? Bei Yunj said without hesitation. Okay. It would be best if they could buy something that old Master Lin liked at the auction. Then go to sleep now. Don't make brother unhappy. Huashida's thin red lips curled up as he reached out lazily and rubbed his fingertips against her cheek. The faint warmth made Pei Yunj inexplicably think of the last time when the man approached her and breathed into her ear. Chapter 473. Pei Yunj took a step back. "Brother, don't keep seducing me like this." Hearing this, the man probably didn't expect the young lady to be so direct. He couldn't help but chuckle softly. But in the next moment, the man's eyes darkened even more. It was a little hard to tell, as if he was blatantly seducing her. His posture was frivolous. "How did I seduce you?" Pei Yunj was speechless. "Don't you know how you seduced me?" Looking at this man's cynical and deliberately teasing look, Pei Yunj smiled and took another step back. In the next second, then, he quickly closed the door. Looking at the young lady's angry look, the man's lips curled up lazily. His pair of clear peach blossom eyes were especially seductive. He knocked on the door. His low and magnetic voice was lazy, with a hint of a smile. It was almost imperceptible. "Little princess, good night." The next day, it happened to be the third round of the International Musicians Association selection. Pei Yunj sent a message to the International Musicians Association at the last minute and decided to go over to take a look. Jinding Building. Arn. Yuan is coming over to take a look at the selection. Arrange for someone to go down and pick her up. Jin Jihung was very excited. He didn't expect Yuan to come to the third round of the selection. Ever since he spoke to Yuan on the phone last time, he had been listening to Yun's songs. As expected of the person that old Master Du was willing to open up 2 more slots to get. "She's here?" Arn paused. Jin Jihung didn't notice his nervousness. "Yes, I've already told her the address. Get our people to remember to go down and pick her up." Arnie's expression didn't look too good. He tried his best to suppress the panic in his heart. All right. He had taken a lot of benefits from others in charge of the International Musicians Association's recruitment this time. And he had already decided who to give the 2 slots to. But if Yuan suddenly interfered, wouldn't he offend someone if he couldn't handle these matters well? No. He had to think of a way. Arn suddenly got up and walked towards the stairwell that few people came, and went. Soon, Pei Yunj arrived at the Jinding Building and didn't see anyone coming to pick her up. She could only wait in the hall. Who knew, just as Pei Yunj took out her phone, someone suddenly grabbed her arm. "Why are you still here?" An honest-looking woman sized up Pei Yunj, who was wearing a black baseball cap. She was wearing a black t-shirt inside, a red and white striped shirt outside, and a pair of loose jeans. She looked casual and beautiful, and her languid and flirtatious temperament was extremely prominent. But it wasn't appropriate to dress like this, was it? "Come with me." The chubby woman dragged Pei Yunj up to the 2nd floor. "Isn't it the 12th floor?" Pei Yunj asked after a moment of hesitation. The fat woman chuckled. "Do you think those vampires are willing to spend so much money? 12 floors?" The rent of the Jinding Building increased according to the number of floors. What a joke. Pei Yunj was silent for a moment, then picked up the black mask and put it back on. "Did you get the wrong person?" "How is that possible? Black hat, red clothes, long hair. You're the only one in the entire hall who's dressed like this." The fat woman clicked her tongue and sized up Pei Yunj. "You have a good temperament, but you're dressed too casually." The show was about a female group's debut. The artistes who came today were all competing with each other. This one was easy to worry about. She was dressed as if she was going out for a casual stroll. "P.S. I don't seem to have updated much these few days. After I sort out the outline, I'll see how much I can make up for you all overnight." Pinch. Chapter 474. Pei Yunj felt that it was strange. Did she need to dress up so grandly to watch the audition? But before Pei Yunj could speak, she heard the fat lady say, "Are you ready?" Pei Yunj said, "I should be ready," although she did not know what she needed to prepare for the audition. "That's good." The fat lady took a deep breath and brought her to the 2nd floor. Pei Yunj looked around and saw many good-looking girls. "Why are they all girls?" Pei Yunj asked. She remembered that there were not many girls left in the 3rd round, and they were all older. The fat lady took a deep breath and looked at Pei Yunj with a fake smile. "Do you need me to find you 2 handsome lads?" Pei Yunj was speechless. Were all the staff members of the International Musicians Association so unreasonable? Hence soon, the two of them, who were not on the same page, walked to a door. Go in. After the fat lady finished speaking, she noticed that Bei Yunj was wearing a mask and a hat. Her face was almost hidden. Was she planning to start a new trend in talent shows? She was here to join a girl group, and she had taken good care of her looks and privacy. You'd better take it off quickly, the fat lady reached out, wanting to take it off for Bei Yunj. But very quickly, Bei Yunj grabbed her hand and smiled lazily. No need. I'll go in like this. Sorry to trouble you. Upon finishing her words, Bei Yunj pushed the door open with one hand and walked in. The fat lady looked at Bei Yunj's back view in a daze. Don't say it. Just this girl's pair of eyes was enough to make her famous. At this very moment, Bei Yunj, who opened the door, was deep in thought. Looking at the surrounding lights and cameras, she felt that something was amiss. Why did the International Musicians Association have so many fancy things? Are you ready? A young man pointed to the instruments around him and revealed a warm smile. You can use all of these. Another man wearing a red hat asked curiously, Aren't you going to take off your mask? I won't. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, she glanced at the musical instruments around her and asked, Do I have to play these too? Tutor. The production team? He seemed to be a normal person. Why was he so arrogant the moment he entered the arena? He wasn't even willing to show off his talent? Why don't you put on a performance? The young man with the sunny appearance spoke again. Bei Yunj frowned and could only look at the piano. At this time, the bullet screen in the live stream was flooded with comments. Isn't this player a bit strange? Isn't he too fond of attracting attention? I'm speechless. Is it because her professional skills are too good that she's willing to perform without going on stage? There's actually such a person. I hope our Jojo doesn't choose such a person. She's probably a young lady with a terrible temper. I'm convinced. Can anyone participate in the competition? Look at what she's wearing. She's not even willing to take off her mask. A normal person is acting like a big shot? Don't you think that even if she doesn't take off her mask and hat, this person seems to be very good-looking? I don't know about her looks, but her legs are long and straight. She's a famous product. Awesome. Why do I feel that this young lady seems to be unaware of the situation? Let's play the piano then. Bei Yunj frowned and casually strummed the piano keys with her fingertips. Afterward, before the people in the bullet screen could say that Bei Yunj was pretending, the piano suddenly sounded. Chapter 475. The netizens who had just heard Chin Yoja's performance were already fed up. They found it boring when more than 10 contestants came to play. So, just as Bei Yunj was choosing the piano, there were already comments saying that Bei Yunj was overestimating herself. But who would have thought? As soon as this person sat down, her slender and pretty fingers moved across the black and white piano keys. The hands of the netizens holding their phones froze. Even the mentors who were evaluating the contestants looked at this scene in disbelief. Bei Yunj looked down, but her fingers were dancing on the piano dazzlingly. Whether it was her piano skills or the song she was completing, it made people have goosebumps. They thought that she was an arrogant newbie, but they did not expect her to be a god-level big boss until the end. Whether it was inside or outside the venue, everyone seemed to have lost their souls. When Bei Yunj was playing just now, their emotions were completely stirred by the song. They never had goosebumps. Was she *king here to choose a girl group? Was she really not going to consider the International Musicians Association upstairs? Bei Yunj asked impatiently, Is it done? Why, yes. Several mentors were shocked and even wanted to give up their seats. It was not appropriate for this person to stand in the contestant's position. Then let's rate her, another mentor said. I'll give her a, one of the mentors said with a trembling voice. I'll give her a 2.
Suddenly,
Bei Yunj smiled, but there was no warmth in her eyes. You're giving me a rating? The atmosphere immediately turned cold. The comments were flooding the screen crazily. Ha 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 ha, this girl is so arrogant. I love her. Sister, please forgive me. I'll help you debut. Boo-hoo, this girl is so fierce. I almost thought she entered the wrong door. Her aura is too strong. F***CK, what a great contestant. Our Jojo is so scared. I'm impressed.
So, what if she plays the piano?
Why is her temper so bad? At the latest. That's right. Do you know how to respect people? However, at this moment, a girl wearing a black beret, a red short-sleeve shirt, and a pair of shorts with suspenders hurried in through the door. I'm sorry, mentors. I'm Huang Momo. I'm a little late. The mentors were speechless. The production crew. If this is Huang Momo, then the one who just finished playing the piano is? Just as everyone was petrified, the dance instructor Yu Manran slowly walked out. Yu, why are you here? Yu Manran almost shouted out Bei Yunj's name, but fortunately, he reacted quickly. Bei Yunj turned around and did not expect to see Yu Manran. In fact, Bei Yunj's disguise was so bad that even people who met her every day might not be able to recognize her. However, the jacket that Bei Yunj was wearing was bought by Yu Manran. Director, I'm sorry, but this is not a contestant. I'll take her out. Yu Manran immediately pulled Bei Yunj out. What kind of joke was this? Bei Yunj can come to the talent show. Who could afford to pay her? However, it was as if everyone who knew the truth had exploded. She's really not a contestant. No wonder she didn't seem to know anything when she came in. The mentors were chatting. She's actually related to Goddess Man. It seems that she's not an artist. Her identity is not simple either. At the thought of the piano performance just now, the mentor sighed. That piano performance is amazing. Those who don't know would think that she's from the International Musicians Association upstairs. Don't say that. I've heard the performance upstairs. She's much better. At the same time, the people who were watching the live broadcast almost exploded the live broadcast. Chapter 476. No way? Did she really go the wrong way? Then why is this young lady here? I remember that apart from the second floor having a talent show, the 12th floor is still having the International Musicians Association selection today. So, after Qin Yu Jiao finished performing, she went to the International Musicians Association selection. Is this young lady also a participant in the third round of the International Musicians Association selection? These words quickly attracted the dissatisfaction of Qin Yu Jiao's fans. After all, Qin Yu Jiao's biggest topic of conversation was that she had entered the third round of the International Musicians Association selection. Now that Qin Yu Jiao's fans saw that someone actually had the same persona as their idol, they were naturally on guard. I'm speechless. A normal person is trying to take advantage of my Jiao? My Jiao is the only contestant under the age of 20 in the third round. Take away my Jiao, goodbye. My Jiao is also a senior in the music industry, right? Did the production team deliberately let a normal person create the devil's persona? They made her pretend to go the wrong way, and even made everyone think that she was a contestant from the International Musicians Association? Question. Sour. Do you Jiao fans have a lemon attribute? Even Man knows her. Her identity is definitely not simple. A person begging this girl to debut. +1. Don't go. Miss, don't be fierce to them. Stay and be fierce to me. I'm laughing. You, Man, only came from a humble background. What amazing person can you know? Just as everyone was discussing, Bei Yunj was successfully found by the management of the 12th floor. A few hours later, the term hashtag 10,000 people's blood begging piano lady hashtag also became a trending topic. Everyone was used to watching soft girls in talent shows and had seen many mature women in shows. However, this was the first time they had seen a young lady with the aura of a devil king. It was as if she had an aura of "I'm impatient, don't provoke me" written all over her body. With just a few questions, the production team and the mentors fell into a period of silence. However, just when everyone thought that this person was too arrogant, her piano skills instantly killed everyone, making everyone speechless. In Ibetua bookstore, she really had the temper of a devil. The fans of a talent show rubbed their hands together silently. It was simply exciting to have such a female idol in the industry. After Yu Manran sent her away, he returned. The director immediately stopped Yu Manran. Manran, is that your friend? Yu Manran looked at the director's smiling face and felt a little scared and wary. What are you trying to do? The director took a deep breath and put on a fake smile. What can I do? Has your friend ever thought about developing in the entertainment industry? Yu Manran's eyelids twitched. He pursed his lips and said, My manager has asked as well. If she wanted to develop, she would have come a long time ago. The director thought about it and agreed. Although it was the first time they had met, the director could tell from the way he spoke and behaved in the past 10 minutes that he had a bad temper. Why don't you let your friend take part in the competition? The remuneration is negotiable. The director continued to be shameless. Yu Manran looked at him in disbelief. His face seemed to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Bei Yunj was short of money. This was someone who was short of money? The three people in the Qin family couldn't wait to pluck the stars and the moon for her. Not to mention the master of the Hur family, who spoiled Bei Yunj so much. Could she make Bei Yunj debut? What a joke. Brother Wang, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't think about anything that doesn't belong to you. Yu Manran patted the director's shoulder. Chapter 477. At this moment, Bei Yunj saw that someone had followed her out to take photos of her secretly, so she went to the clothing store outside the building and changed her clothes before coming in. However, she did not expect to see Qin Yojiao the moment she opened the door. Why are you here? A dark look flashed past Qin Yojiao's eyes and she asked with a smile, Are you here to participate in the International Musicians Association selection? Bei Yunj glanced at her carelessly. You can say that. Hearing this, Qin Yojiao's expression froze. She did not expect Bei Yunj to really come to participate in the third round of selection. But didn't they say that she was the only one under the age of 20 who passed the second round of selection? Qin Yojiao clenched her fists and smiled. I didn't expect you to pass the second round too. Then all the best. I hope I can see you in the International Musicians Association too. Hearing this, Bei Yunj only snorted faintly, the smile on her lips faintly discernible. I hope so. With that said, Bei Yunj entered the elevator, and the staff beside her did not dare to speak. Teacher Yun, that person just now was... What do you think? Bei Yunj pressed the elevator button to the 12th floor lazily and asked slowly. I don't know. I didn't hear it. I didn't see it. The staff immediately thought of all kinds of scenes in television dramas and immediately said. Bei Yunj was speechless. She glanced at the staff and said nothing until they reached the 12th floor. Come with me. This is... Where did the contestant perform? Bei Yunj asked. Oh, in the hall here. Bei Yunj glanced in the direction he was pointing and nodded. Okay, I'll go over myself. You don't have to bring me. With that said, Bei Yunj turned and left. In the hall, everyone suddenly saw a girl walk in. God of Dance ebook. The girl had her hat pressed down and was wearing a black striped suit. 2 buttons of her white shirt were unbuttoned and she was wearing leather shorts. Her long legs were dazzling. Bei Yunj sat in the waiting area and glanced at the people in front of her casually. Arn and Jin Jihung, who were in front of them, frowned. This was a contestant? Why didn't they have any impression of it? Let's continue, Jin Jihung said. Hearing this, Arn did not think too much about it and let the next person perform. After about 6 or 7 people, it was the turn of someone Bei Yunj found very familiar. Old Master Bo. The old man who had dressed casually at the banquet had changed into a well-tailored suit and was playing a violin. A few minutes later, just as Jin Jihung was about to speak, he said, Not bad, I'll keep. Have you passed your violin test yet? Arn interrupted and asked. Old Master Bo held the violin and was stunned. No, in his time, he didn't know anything about exams. Later on, when the Bo family started to develop, they rarely touched such things. That's why your violin is so mediocre. It can't even be compared to your piano, Arn said without giving him any face. At this moment, the surrounding people could not help but look at old Master Bo. He was the oldest among the candidates, but he was humiliated in public. Old Master Bo pursed his lips and did not say a word. Arn sneered and crossed his arms. I don't know what ability you have to make Yun choose you. The third round. There was no recording. He could take advantage of the fact that Yun was not here to eliminate this annoying old thing. No one in the hall was willing to stand up for Old Master Bo. They all lowered their heads. But suddenly. Chapter 478. Everyone was shocked and turned around to see the girl in the hat. They couldn't see her face clearly, only her sharp chin. Arnie's expression changed. What's your name? If the head examiner defines the contestants based on their level, why do they have to choose? Why don't we look at the information written by someone else? Bei Yunj crossed her legs. Her long and slender legs were so cold and fair that they dazzled people. Her slow tone was filled with unbridled mockery. Instantly, the people on the field couldn't help but cast her a look of respect. Let me ask you, what's your name? Do you believe that I'll chase you out? Arn was furious. He slammed the table and stood up. Old Master Bo was also shocked. He instinctively looked at Bei Yunj behind him. He didn't know this girl either. Why was she helping him? Arn, watch your words. Jin Jiheng frowned. If Bei Yunj saw this, how could he stay in the International Musicians Association peacefully? The contestants have the ability to influence the examiner's thoughts. Arnie's tone was mocking. You don't even know if you can pass, yet you're still worried about others. I think he plays the violin very well. Bei Yunj said unhurriedly as she looked straight at Arn with her beautiful eyes. Arn sneered and retorted with Bei Yunj's words. Then are you planning to demonstrate with the violin? As soon as he finished speaking, he had thought that this girl would restrain herself, but he didn't expect Bei Yunj to really stand up and walk in front of Old Master Bo. Can I borrow it? Bei Yunj asked. Old Master Bo reacted and immediately handed it over. Bei Yunj placed the violin on her neck and tested the sound. Soon, the violin was played. This time, Bei Yunj was playing the score that Old Master Bo had just played. However, she had modified it. The score was more majestic, and the style was unique and rich. However, there was also an inexplicable sense of familiarity. He seemed to have heard it somewhere before. Jin Jiheng was the first to have this doubt, but he couldn't remember it for a while. After the entire score was played, the two examiners, Arn and Arn, gradually looked embarrassed. He didn't look like he was here for the selection. Instead, he looked like he was here to cause trouble. Teacher, guess what level my violin is at? Bei Yunj's tone was long as she asked with a faint smile. However, there was no warmth in his eyes. Arn didn't look too good. Anyone who had studied music before wouldn't be able to lie through their teeth with such a level of proficiency in the violin. Teacher, if you think it's not good enough, you can demonstrate it yourself so that everyone can learn from it. Bei Yunj returned the violin to Old Master Bo. At this moment, Arnie's face was frighteningly dark. Everyone suspected that Arn would come down and attack the girl in the next moment. Shortly after, just as Arn was about to drive her out, she suddenly laughed. He said slowly, Mr. Arn, haven't you found your place yet? In an instant, Arnie's body stiffened. Even Jin Jiheng, who was beside him, reacted. Someone had said something similar to her. Back then, Yun said the same thing. Just know your position. When the two of them reacted, their pupils constricted and they looked up at Bei Yunj. How is this possible? She was Yun. They heard Yun's voice and knew that Yun might be quite young, but wasn't she too young? Why, before Jin Jiheng could speak, he heard her repeat her answer. I think he plays the violin very well. Chapter 479. With that said, Bei Yunj only curved her eyes and looked at them expressionlessly. Jin Jiheng was the first to react. He looked like a fan indulging his idol and said in a daze, Good, very good. Bei Yunj glanced at Arn as if nothing had happened and returned to her seat. All the contestants present were stunned. Even Old Master Bo was stunned. Wasn't this young lady a little too wild? She even dared to scold the head examiner like this? The strangest thing was that Mr. Jin Jiheng actually listened to her. Then, even Arn gritted his teeth and sat down as if he had swallowed the humiliation. Everyone What kind of confusing scene was this? Everyone continued preparing. Next, Jin Jihung was the first to react. He could tell that Bei Yunj did not want to reveal her identity, so he continued with the selection. When everyone saw this scene, they knew that the young lady at the end should be a very powerful big shot. It was very likely that one of the spots in the International Musicians Association would land on her. Everyone's thoughts ran wild as they continued to prepare for the assessment. At the same time, to Bei Yunj's surprise, old Master Bo walked in front of her. "Miss, thank you." "You're welcome." Bei Yunj did not want to be recognized, so she did not raise her head and just said casually, "Miss, your violin skills are really good." Old Master Bo was a little nervous as he rubbed his hands carefully. "Can you teach me? I can pay you." Bei Yunj. "I'm usually not free." She did not want to take in any more students. 3 of them were more than enough for her. "I see." Old Master Bo was a little disappointed. Then he said to her sincerely, "You're very good. There will definitely be a spot for you in the International Musicians Association this time. All the best." Bei Yunj, "Thank you. Prepare well for the last round and fight for a spot." Hearing this, old Master Bo could not help but look at Bei Yunj. This young lady's tone sounded as if she was determined to get him into the 4th round. "I hope so." Old Master Bo sighed and put on his top hat again. After saying goodbye to Bei Yunj, he left the 12th floor. This continued until the end of the 3rd round. Arn originally wanted to ask Bei Yunj the reason why she didn't directly reveal her identity. Instead, she deliberately wanted to embarrass him. However, he didn't expect that he wouldn't even see Bei Yunj after everything was over. Arn was so angry that he threw everything on the table away. Jin Jihung furrowed his brows at the sight of this. Du Xiao was also trying to make Wai Yuan happy during the selection. Yun was not willing to come, so they helped to choose her. If Wai Yuan was willing to come, they were just decorations. Wasn't this clear from the start? However, Arn was a decisive person who did everything according to his own ideas. But it was obvious that Wai Yuan was not someone to be trifled with. Moreover, looking at the president's posture, Wai Yuan was very likely to be the next president of the International Musicians Association. Why can't Arn understand this little hint? In a corner, Arn is talking to someone on the phone with an unpleasant expression. "Miss, I saw Wai Yuan. She's not easy to deal with at all." Fortunately, Wai Yuan wasn't here when Qin Yojiao was performing. "That's good. It's fine as long as Qin Yojiao can pass this time." The mysterious woman smiled. Hearing this, Arn could not help but tell her about what happened this time. However, the woman only smiled. "Arn, don't be too anxious. I'll help you get rid of Wai Yuan. P.S. Be good and remember the monthly votes. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.